Here we are, another Saturday Night Live, Saturday, November 16, 2019. And Ranjeet is our special guest again to update us with about a year or so of living it and loving it. And, you know, people have been watching you go through a metamorphosis for many, many, many weeks now. And, you know, what do we say? Results speak, bullcrap we flush. So we don't really care what people say, because the ones living and loving it, we know. So the floor is yours.
Oh, first, it's absolute honour, you know, for me to have this space with such beautiful souls. And everyone knows I love intention, right? So I like to set the intention for this Zoom meeting. And my intention for this one is really about that we leave our minds outside, okay? We leave our minds outside this Zoom space, that we come here and we tap into our soul, that we don't want to understand what my situation I've been through. We don't want to compare. We don't want to criticize. We don't want to judge. We don't want to do any of those things, because if we do, it's a form of distraction, you know, and we move out of our love space. So I really like us to really think about keeping the mind away this time, just so that when I deliver, that you're able to see the fields and that we increase our field strength together as one, and that can be imparted on you, so you basically have a better journey in your life, and that you affect the people in your community and the people that you love and care about. That is really my true intention, that our heart spaces are completely open. Of course, I'm a vessel for inspiration, I feel, more than anything else through this journey. And that's an honour to inspire and be in that space for other souls to have their own creation and their own path in this human potential, because we can be better every day. So that's something that's really, really important to me, that we do that. And I also want to say that nothing is impossible, that I am, which is you, are all possible in anything that you want to achieve in this human experience, no matter what. We can create whatever we like from the limitless place. So that's what I really wanted to start off with. And then I'll, if everybody's able to accept that's just really beautiful, and that just helps me to deliver more. So I thank you, and I really, truly love you. And so I thought I might just do a quick recap, you know,
Can you
from
just
my last...
tilt your device so your whole head comes into play?
Yeah, so the whole...
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll do that. The only thing is, okay, the, hang on.
You lost you.
Hang on,
Just
Gina.
move back a little bit.
Yeah, this...
Yep. Yeah, you lost me for a bit. Is that better?
Hang on.
Is that better?
It's frozen.
Frozen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That better?
There.
Maybe even a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
A little bit more. Yeah, so you can see your whole head.
No.
Okay. Okay, like that. Yeah, okay. All right. So I was just going to do a recap. I know most people have probably hopefully watched my first interview last year, which is going to be completely different to this one, right? So I'll just do a quick recap about who I am. The one thing about that interview, I never actually focused on suffering, misery, suffering and pain, right? And the reason why is that I've never actually been a personality that's actually really done that. I've always been a personality that's always focused on the positive and found positive and love in it and beauty in everything that I've always done in my life. And that's pretty much nearly as a child. So I think it's just an internal personality that I've done, and I'm pretty resilient in everything that I've sort of achieved through my family. But my family, we're Indians, right? So we're Punjabis, and I was born in London in 1970. So that's right, I'm 49 years. And we lived in a big family there. My mum's older sister's married to my dad's older brother, and they had 4 siblings, and there was 4 of us. And we lived in a house which only had one toilet and one bathroom. We were the youngest, so us 3 siblings, my brother, me, my younger sister, always got the last bath water, you know, that weekly bath that you had. And only one outhouse, only one toilet against, like, you know, eight kids and 4 sets, you know, and the parents. I actually never really knew who my parents really were, like in the sense of the family institution. In the extended and family environment, you actually thought that everybody was part of you, a part of your family. You never really sort of kind of distinguished what it was going on. And every member of the family had a certain role, uncles, aunts, and things like that. Big family, 48 cousins. So every weekend was a full house. Lots of, all I could ever think about in my family environment at that time, there was just so much love. Even though there was passion, but there was so much love in the passion. And I was, when I came along, my older sister's 4 years older than me. So when I came along, I was the new baby, the new everything. And I pretty much got a lot of love. And they used to drop me, you know, dress me up as a tomboy a little bit because they wanted a boy. But I just can't remember anything but love. I can't associate with anything but that. I got mollycoddled. My uncle tried to steal me from my mum. I don't know why. It just kind of happened. And I just thought, well, maybe that's where the divine started. You know, it started before, you know, we were actually coming to this planet and become fallen. So that journey was interesting. The most wasn't traumatic, but it was more of a really intense experience when my parents decided to migrate to Australia. And they told us 4 kids that we were coming for a holiday to this country. And I never wanted to leave. So I did everything possible as a child, as an 8-year-old, not wanting to go, right? I didn't want to leave. So when we came to this country, I never ever forget it. It was like, it was open space. We came off the plane. It was raining and it was sunshine and there was just complete space. There was no concrete buildings that you saw. You didn't see anything. It was just space. And I literally did think that I actually landed on a different planet, right? I never actually thought I landed in a different country. So when we came here, we were very poor. So we didn't have much. Nobody knew who Indians were. They actually thought they were red Indians. So no one knew what even a Punjabi was, let alone an Indian from India. And there was only like 10 Punjabi families in Brisbane. And we really connected with the Italians, Greeks, Lebanese, and all those type of people, because they came to this country pretty much just before or just after the White Australia policy was abolished. And so a lot of those people came in order to make a better life for themselves. So we really connected with those type of people, and even friends for me as well, because there was that, you know, sort of familiarity with food and culture and things like that. So it was okay. School was fine. In England, I experienced, if we want to talk about suffering, I experienced a lot of racism there. So I remember I always never wanted to go to school because even the teachers and that sort of stuff, and nobody wanted to play with you as a child because you were of a colour skin and all that sort of stuff. And I went to a white school, so that's the first time I actually experienced some sort of judgment against skin colour or whatever. But I never actually looked at it as a disadvantage. All I ever used to think was, well, I don't know why they don't like curries, because that's what I grew up with. I don't get it, But I ended up hanging around with a lot of boys, and they're the ones that played. So I ended up playing with which is quite interesting because that thread has come through all my life, right? Is through school, through work, and all sorts of things, where I've always seemed to be very focused on things and not worry about some of the stuff that the emotional things. I tend to get over it very, very quickly. So we come into this country, it was fine. We were very poor, and then we just worked hard. The whole family worked hard. My dad used to drop me and my older sister off on the weekends to mow lawns. We just mowed lawns all the time. Then we went into going into doing markets and building wealth to try and buy our first house. you know. So it was all about buying a home for my parents to provide. Their love language was providing shelter, food, and education. And so it was all about that. And my parents worked so hard. They had 2 jobs. We used to come home from school, and us 3, 4 kids would just be on our own. We looked after each other. We brought each other up, and then we made friends at school, and we just were on our own devices. We had to solve our own problems. If there's any issues that come up, our parents weren't there really, they were working. So us 4 kids worked things out together. Like, I remember Mum used to come home 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'd have a pot of, Indian tea or cha for her on the stove. So it was just like, it was pretty much, we were a family that were actually growing up together, and trying to get through this life, and get ourselves educated and all that sort of stuff. But when our parents bought our home and we did all that, and we brought the other family members over. So my dad and we sponsored them. So they came and lived with us. So we had a 2-story house. So we had family, our cousins and our uncles and aunts that come and lived with us for nothing. My parents didn't, that's just the way you do things. And we provided food. We gave up our bedrooms. We did everything like that in sharing. There's heaps of conflict that goes on in that sort of situation. There's heaps of challenges. We'd try to get jobs for them. So it's all like working together and going through that. And we've had probably 4 sets of families that lived with us during that time while we were going through school. So sometimes you never had a bedroom, you know what I mean? You never actually had your own space. And that's all right, but you managed through that. But I just always saw love. I never saw anything else. I actually never... I used to get attached to my family members, and you always wanted to help them, or help them get a job, help them get better through life, and that sort of stuff. So my siblings will see something different. They see a lot more suffering, especially my 2 sisters. They see how they were robbed a lot of their childhood. They see that they never had compared to the other Australians, they never saw that they actually had the life that they really wanted, where I saw something different. I just love people so much, which is probably why when you look at MFS, that's why I do what I do, because I get really attached to people, sorry. But that's how I kind of operate. And so that has really instilled in me a lot. And so everything I've done in life has been pretty much that way. And sometimes even at school, so I remember school so well. I was probably maybe a little bit popular in some ways, and the teachers liked me, and they saw a lot of potential in me. I'll give you an example. I was captain of the volleyball team, chess club, and social club at high school. So my leadership skills even then were already there. So I remember one time, actually, I did volleyball from grade 9, which is about when you're about 14. And I always hanged around with older people, so older than me, because I always thought, even at a young age, if I hang around people that are just a little bit more above me all the time, that it will stretch me, to learn more, be better, and all that sort of stuff. I ever got caught up in the girls' thing. So we never actually got toys, and we never really got Christmas presents. I never got birthday presents or anything like that. So I just sort of looked at things just really different, So I always used to try and hang out with the older kids, and some of my girlfriends my age, they were right into, who's the best actor, music and popular music, and want to go to movies and all that sort of stuff. And I wasn't really into that. If I wanted to, for some reason, I just wanted to just be better in a different way and give and serve from pretty much a young age. I never really was concerned about, wanting things, material things or anything like that. So when I'm playing volleyball, these girls, we were number 1 in our school, in our region, and they taught me so well. I was even being a short person, I was a really good volleyball player. I have really strong shoulders and strong back. So I could do rowing, hands, Peter. I used to do a bit of rowing at school and I was really good. And so I learned a lot of skills from them. But when they left school, my friends come and wanted to join volleyball with me. So they wanted to hang out. So, but they were hopeless. They're literally hopeless. So I knew even then I had to train them. I had to teach them. So me and my teacher knew that. And so what I did, we did that, but we were slack. And I do have a slight competitive nature in me. I do like to win, you know. I do like to feel that, okay, we can win something. But we were losing all the time. And I remember this one incident. This was so incredible, and it's never, ever left me. We were going against a school which we all never liked. I don't know if people remember their school days. And I didn't want them to win. I did not want them to win. And we were losing. So every time I could do time out in the game, I would gather the troops and I would know which strengths the people would have, and I would just place them in the zone. You know, you're going to hit the ball, you're going to spike it up, you're going to give it to me, I'm going to, you know, slam it down. And these people over the other side, we know which ones are weak, you know, so just completely strategize. And it was just instant. So I just tapped in, you know what I mean? Even then we're tapping in as, you know, as young adults. So I just tapped in, and do you know what? In the last half, we beat them. And we came from the back end. And my teacher, I never ever forget this, and she said to me one day, she goes, Ranjeet, you may not know this just yet, but you're actually a born leader. And you have this ability to bring out the best in people. And I never actually, I just disregarded it. I didn't think anything of it because I'm just not in that space. It was just how it was. And then through going through school and stuff like that, even every job I had, that always promoted me up to a supervisor or, you know, some sort of leadership role. People found trust in, I'm very trusting. Like, I'm very sort of, you know, if you give me a cash till and stuff, I never do anything wrong. Like, you know, I do everything right, you know, sort of, and they just always promoted me. And I even remember when I went down to Sydney, you know, and I always managed shops. Like, I just ended up being some sort of supervisor or manager just very quickly. And then I worked at the airports and I was managing, I did hairdressing, I've got to tell you. I did hairdressing, I did my hairdressing apprenticeship. And the bosses put me in charge of the till and the products and all that sort of stuff because I used to sell more. So I could handle 3 or 4 clients in a chair where the senior hairdressers couldn't do that. So I was just had this ability to see things before they actually kind of happened. I didn't know how. I just didn't know how. And I left that hairdressing thing because they used to let me go to other shops to try and, you know, balance the books or do this or do that. And I didn't know. Like, I just said, oh, okay, you know. But I left. I remember when I left and they tried to beg me to stay, you know. And then I worked in the airports and same thing. It was very quick, you know, supervisor, blah, blah, blah. And then I went down to Sydney because I had a boyfriend at that time. And my sister also lived down in New South Wales, my older sister. And I lived in Sydney for 2 years, same deal. I went in working in the shops, selling. Within a very short time, they put me into responsibility, started to manage shops. And then, just sort of same sort of thing. I don't know. So I never ever looked at that as anything special. You know, I just sort of said, oh, it's what you do. You know, you do the right thing and people give you more responsibility. And this is how I kind of look like in the soul journey. Same thing. And so I did all that. And I came back and then I went through university and that's how I met Warren. And my parents were trying to marry me off quite a few times. And that's an interesting journey, the arranged marriage process. It's so funny. I've got to tell you one story that happened when we went to England. All the uncles and cousins, I was about 25. So I knew after 25 you become unmarriageable. So I was trying to hang out to after 25 so I didn't get any offers. But they tried to marry, they were freaking looking like, you know, trying to do it. Anyway, so they're trying to hook me up with this guy. I have to tell you the story, it's so funny. Anyway, so went there and I said to my mum and dad, I said, I'm Australian and I'm not really truly a full Punjabi. I said, I grew up in Australia, you know, and I said, I'm not going to marry an Indian. There's no way, you know, because I'm not going to have the same lifestyle as my mum, right? I'm not going to, you know, mummy's boy and all that stuff. You end up being a domestic slave to, you know, another family, and you cook and clean, then you got to work, and then you got to, you know, give children and all that sort of stuff. I said, I'm not interested in that. I don't want any of it, you know. But my dad says to me, oh, please do it just to save face. All about shame, right, in our culture, all about shame. Anyway, so I said, okay, I'll do it. So one of my dad's cousins organised it. But I said to him, I'm not wearing my Indian clothes. I said, because I don't wear Indian clothes, right, in Australia. Anyway, we went. And my mum and I went, they had two-story house. My mum and I went downstairs. My dad went upstairs. Then the entourage came, right? So all the women came downstairs. All the men went upstairs. And I haven't seen the guy, right? That was supposed to marry. It's so funny. Anyway, so the entourage, the women downstairs are all dressed up, right? All dressed up with their gold, Indian clothes, you know, all the paraphernalia. And you're having cups of tea, and I'm like, this is like going for 2 or 3 hours. And I said to my cousin's cousin, I said, what happens how do I meet this guy? Like, I'm just curious, right? And anyway, so he's going to come down through the back door into the back kitchen, and then I was going to meet him in the kitchen, right, on our own. And I thought, oh God, this is nuts. Anyway, so that happened. So I met him. He was a computer IT engineer, right? So lots of money if you want to marry money. And I look, and he was overweight, right? And I just said to myself, holy moly, there's no way in the world I'm going to jump into bed with him. So what I said to him, I said, I'm not moving to England, not interested in getting married. And by the way, I don't cook and clean, right? So that was the end of that. Anyway, so we got into the car. My dad was driving, got into the car, and my mum just blasted my dad. He goes, how do you think my daughter's going to marry someone like that? That's just terrible, blah, blah, blah. So he got blasted. Anyway, so that's one story. There's a few others, but I never forget that. So it was really, really interesting. So I kind of knew my path, that, you know, I think the path is set out for you in a way, you know, with all these events or experiences that you have in life. There's always the face of God that sits behind all of it, you know, just helping you and watching you, and you kind of sometimes you kind of know that you tap into this. And so school in Australia and work and everything is great. I've had a blast, but for some reason I've always ended up in leadership roles. And I even with my work when I went to university, the lecturers like me, and you know, I'm fairly studious, you know, when I want to be, but I still have fun. So I play hard and still have fun. I get the stuff done, if you know what I mean. Whatever needs to be done, just get it done. Don't worry about whatever's going on, you know. So with work, my career, I ended up working for government in a big, huge health organisation, and I picked the hospital near my parents and where all my family lived, because they serve my family and the people that I love and care about, and I wanted to serve that hospital, and I wanted to stay there. So, you know, they saved a lot of my uncles' lives and my auntie's lives, that hospital has, and I really wanted to connect to the community and be a part of that growth of that particular hospital. And I ended up there. I ended up working. I had to get in first. So when you get in, you've got to go as a ground. You know what I do? I don't go looking online for jobs. I go knocking on doors. So if I want something, I just go, okay, I need to go work there, but somehow I need to get in there. And what would a manager do? What type of person would a manager want to employ? Someone that's probably a little bit, studious and a little bit sort of, you know, above the rest, right? Especially as a woman, right? Because with government, you know, it's a very male-dominated industry, especially through management and all that sort of stuff. And I kind of knew that, okay, I have to do a lot. I have to perform much higher than most people. So I did. I knocked on the doors. I did all that, and first job I got into was actually mental health. It was an administrative job. And as soon as I got in, okay, then you try and get permanency. So that's your next step. So you get permanency. So once you get permanency, then you try and actually move your way up the ladder. So I never had any sick days. No matter what, I just worked. My parents instilled, I was a workaholic, literally a workaholic. I would come in first, I would leave last. You know, I just worked and worked. And so from that, I went into HR because that was my degree. I went for every job. I built relationships with the people up there. You know what I mean? So you just go and do that stuff that needs to be done, which most people don't do. Most people won't do that, won't do the grind, won't do the hard yards. So I just did that, and eventually I got into HR, and then I eventually just basically worked myself up, and I just worked hard. I had to work harder more than my male. I'm sorry to say this, Gino and everyone and the guys here, but I actually had to work harder, and we all know this. I had to work harder than my male colleagues because you had to just perform. Money, budgets, you just legally, it's all about legal eagles. You know, you had to write properly, you had to documents, develop policies. Like there's just work. And I did that. And then I eventually went and had opportunity to go up to another job, which was a general manager, okay, that in oral health. And I took that challenge up because some reason I like living in the unknown myself. I like challenges. I like that ability to push myself outside the boundaries. And I went for it. And all my jobs I've had some of the best mentors. I've been very blessed. And they've always just watched out and gave me, they trusted me. They gave me information. We worked together. I was a good trusted employee. And so when I went to oral health, I had a really good boss. He was Scottish, very smart, highly intelligent. And we had this job that we had to do. I managed a $25 million budget, and we had 180 staff, and 25 of those staff reported to me. So they were admin. And I had to think of solutions and how we were going to give money back to the hospital, open up 15 extra dental surgery at neutral cost, okay, no cost, so you're not getting any more money in, and work all that stuff out. And I'll come up with a strategy for us with the other senior managers as well, not just me. And we did it. We centralized all our systems and policies to come through our office. More work on me. And we had to hire dentists from the UK. We were hiring lots of dentists from the UK on the visa that we were able to utilise at that stage. And I used to interview dentists at 9 o'clock at night when I got home. And I did all this, Gino, while I still had chronic anemia. So you know my anemia, right? Then I never actually thought about it until like at the beginning of this year, understanding how you tap into these energies in these limitless places. I didn't understand I was doing that at all. All I was really focused on was integrity, the vision, and how you ensure that vision becomes a reality, and creating that. I didn't know I was even doing it. I mean, most of us people are tapped in that some way, but we don't realise that it's actually really happening. And I had chronic anemia, and I used to have, my periods used to go for sometimes 2 weeks, right? So I always had to really strategise. The ladies will understand this. I had to strategise where the toilets were. I had to strategise, when I did my meetings and everything like that, because I used to bleed heavy for, sometimes 6 or 7 days. I had to strategise everything I had to do. And I don't know how I did it. And it's not me that did it. I can't give my physical body or my mind even to say that I actually was the one that did it, because I didn't. Because most people would not be able to cope with that. And so when we went through this thing with my oral health and my job there, we had to make people work, right? And that's a tough thing to do when you're in an industry where people don't really work. They just come in, sit down, get their paycheck, and that's it, and not actually providing the real service for the community. And that was really, really tough, because you're dealing with a group of people that are born there, bred there, their mates are working in there, and they're, generations of people have been working in there. So the culture is very, very intense and strong. And you're going up against a culture that is non-workers. And the dentists, because they knew they came in, they were workers, they were pretty good. And plus being, having a strong mind and being emotionally a lot more stronger, it was easy to work with those type of people. And so these people were emotionally strong, and they used to come into my office, because we had to have open door policy. They used to come into my every single, dump emotionally. Like, so I'm used to people dumping emotionally on me, like just continual garbage, like little tiny things, like going having a little operation and, and being all welled up in that, or just so little tiny things. Like I never used to say anything about my life. I never used to say anything about, I've got my periods today and I've got to go to the toilet like nearly every half an hour, and still, perform and do this stuff. So it's tough in that way. But I focused on the vision. I was definitely looked after. We got it done. We actually gave $5 million back to the hospital, and we opened up 15 surgeries, and we employed so much more people, even in the community. We were able to get waiting lists down for the, because the dental really provides that for the, people that don't, socially like on welfare and stuff like that. So we were able to provide that service for them. So a lot more people, waiting lists went down from about 2 years to about a week. So there I was able to help my admin people that reported to me. I was able to get them on courses so they could develop themselves professionally. So there was a lot of things going on. But in all that, I, through my work experience there, I definitely had daggers. There were people that were after me. I had rocks thrown on my house at home on the roof. There's a lot of things that happened there, So I had to find a psychologist and stuff. So I was going through using my sick leave and everything. Finally, lucky I had all my sick leave. That's all I got to say. And found my own psychologist, because I only had 2 psychologists in the whole, area, and all these other people were seeing them. And I found my own, and she even said to me, I remember she said to me, she goes, Ranjeet, not many people would be able to do what you've been able to do. I'm not trying to put myself up in any pedestal or anything like that. But I just said, well, you just do what you've got to do. That's got nothing to do with it. You just move on, you move forward, and I've just got to find my solution to keep going forward. And she goes, no, she even said to me, she goes, no male will be able to put up with what you just put up. I said, yeah, I know. And she, she was actually quite good. She actually tried, it's really interesting. She tried to give me books and things to read about what I was going through. And I actually said to her, you know what? I don't want to read any books. I said, I want to personally experience and embody this. So I'm able to come up with my own solutions. And I did that. And I used to talk to her, and she goes, I said, I used to, because they diagnosed me with depression, right? Which I actually said to her even then. I said, I don't believe that I've got depression. I said, I think this is just an experience. I think it's an experience for me to go through. I don't understand why at the moment, but all I know is something I have to go through. And I'm happy to go through it for whatever. Money didn't bother me. I didn't care about losing my job. Didn't care about any of that stuff. I didn't care about any of that stuff. All I cared about was what is it that you, even then, tapping into God, what is this? What's happening to the society? What's happening to the consciousness of this planet? Why is this happening? So all those type of questions, so, and I remember I said to her, I said, you know what? I feel my personality is getting distorted or something like that, which is fine. I'm losing my identity. like I was already slamming my identity then. It was already going, you know, leaving work, doing all that, going through my family stuff who cursed me about not staying at work and not staying in my career. I went through a lot of shit. And then I said to her, you know what, sometimes, in these sad moments where I used to cry for nearly a whole day and sleep for 16 hours a day and couldn't get out of bed and my body just exploded, as you could tell. I said, for some reason, I always feel this sadness or whatever this dark cloud is, it's like I called it a thing, right? I called it a thing that sits here. It's just a thing. And it's like some sort of entity or energy or some sort of form that if I don't actually focus on it, it kind of goes away. But when I focus on it, it kind of wants to come and live in me for some reason. And she just was blown away. She goes, there's a book called It, or the dog It or something. She's trying to refer to me to some other stuff. And she goes, it talks exactly like that. And that's when I thought, aha, okay, so me having my internal experience through this sadness or whatever I was going through, and I allowed my body, I was just so gone. Like my body was just dead. I had nothing in me. There was just nothing except for this little flame that sat inside of me. And I sort of used to focus on my little flame inside of me, which I called Jesus in my belly. I used to focus on that. And I said, there is a way. There is a way. There is a way, I never had suicidal thoughts. I never had that. I just thought, how do I learn through this so I can be better, and then I can maybe help other people get through this stuff, because this stuff that's going on in the cruel world, I even knew then, is a whole lot of garbage. It's the biggest garbage dump of the garbage dump that you can ever imagine. So my strength and fire, my warrior spirit was really, really strong. And I said to myself, no one is going to defeat this. I knew I was going to get through it. I didn't know how. So Warren got me out. I have to, thank my husband. He got me out, and we got out of the corporate. We went back to Brisbane. We went through a whole process of minimalisation. Went through a whole process. We gave all our stuff to the Salvation Army. We didn't even sell it, because our spirit for both of us actually said, give it away, move on, give it away, go fast. So we did all that, and then went back to Brisbane, and I got cursed by my parents, and I still get cursed by my parents a bit. And we got a lot of stuff, got rid of it, and then I wanted to heal, not heal me. I wanted to I was crying out for God. I was going, divine, like, where are you? Where is it? Like, how come sometimes I can feel you, but sometimes I can't feel you? I want to feel you 24/7. I don't want to have any separation from you, from the source, I just didn't want that separation. And I did everything, and then I knew about fasting a little bit, right? And so I did intermittent fasting. I did a 21-day water fast, I think in March 2018. And that water fast was interesting. The first 10 days was great. But the only thing I noticed with that water fast was I tapped in. I had this there you are. There you are. Okay. All right. Okay, I see it. I feel you. I feel this. I feel the energy. Okay. Wonderful. So there's something inside of me said, dry fast. Dry fast. That was it. Dry fast, Ranjeet. Just dry fast. And then when I was on the pages on Facebook, they all talked about freaking healing, all about, healing the body or healing a particular part of the body, or nobody talked about the spiritual and the soul side. And I knew that was real because I felt it. So nobody talked about any of that until I come to Master Fast, right? Until I actually come to your page. As soon as I hit your page on the 21st of June, 2018, the moment I hit your page, my whole being just went whoop. It just sucked me into the vortex. I had no control, absolutely no control. It sucked me in. And then I went, oh, so Gino talks about this is a glorified dry fast. And that's just got me. Like when you said those words, glorified dry fast, that MFS is a glorified dry fast system. I went in. And then, you know, the way you spoke, Gino, I remember I was listening to you on the page and your Facebook lives and everything, Gino. You were saying all these words. You're talking about field strength. You're talking about this stuff, you know. And my whole being was just like, yes, 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 yes. And then when I watched the videos, my God, it was like I actually physically, my whole energy went into that space of the conversations of these people that were sharing their journey and the miraculous and the mystery of it all, and how they were healing just so quickly, and, you know, and how you're talking about the GI tract being cleaned. I understood it all. It just like, it was a complete, absolute download from the realm. Like, it was like, I'm sorry if I get teary because this is how it happened. You know, it was like a freaking fucking download, and it just sucked me in. The divine just took over me. The soul just took over me. And I'm listening to these stories of all these beautiful souls where, I don't know, you're all here. Scott, why do you think I freaking called you back? Man, fucking hell. Like John and, you know, Gabriella, the whole lot of yous, Hans Peter, fucking love you. And, you know, like all these people, Ajata, I don't know if she's here, and just so many stories. And that lady that talked about her periods, like just like everything. I was just going, this isn't a journey of healing the body, because I already knew when you're tapped into God and stuff and all my experiences I've had in life, I already knew this was a soul journey. This was a freaking soul. It was a spiritual soul connection journey that opens up for service that is beyond anything else that you could imagine. You can't even comprehend what this really is until you have the experience of it. So those stories, Gino, the reason why I listen to those interviews 6, 7, whatever times, Fran, I can't tell you how many times I listen to Fran. I can't tell you some of the people that I've listened to. And I just lived with them. I lived in them. I lived in their journey, and I heard the suffering that they went through, and I heard it all. I heard everything. I think I actually heard more, because it wasn't really about them either. It was about the consciousness of this planet and where it's at. That's what I heard, and it sucked into me. So when I got onto the Zoom call with you and Rana, you know, there wasn't very many of us when I first started. I had no idea what you thought of me. I didn't know. I didn't know anything. All I knew, I remember, Gino, I asked you, I said, oh, you know, I really want to do this, you know. And you said to me, Ranjeet, all you got to do is focus. And then I thought to myself, oh, mate, you don't even know me. You don't know me about freaking focus. When I'm passionate about something, like I talked about that volleyball and I talked about my work, I talk about those things. When I'm passionate about something, I'm 100% narrow. I'm just in. And I'm not just in from the mind. It's like the whole being is all in. Like when I worked, my whole being was in. If I had projects and things to do, my whole being was in. You know, those things are just like entities that happen. You know, you're just in it. So when you said that word focus, I thought to myself, you don't know how focused I can be. And also I've done a lot of mindset work, guys. I've done a lot. I've done so much. When I did that's the other thing. When I was working at doing the oral health thing, guess what else I was doing? Toastmasters. Guess what sort of position I was in Toastmasters? A division director. What's a division director? 770 members. Okay? 8 people that were area directors of different areas. I managed them. I still had my periods. I was still up until 2 a.m. in the morning. I organised events. I organised my own conference from up where I was in Harvey Bay down in Brisbane. Every second weekend, Warren drove me to Brisbane because there was some training on. I trained. There was something on. I did it. So you go, how does someone like Ranjeet, able to do what I've done and not understand it. It's all about God. Because even in Toastmasters, that was a place of service. It was actually quite a healing place for a lot of people. If you go to a Toastmasters club, they give you a space to say your speech. And a lot of the stuff that people do there, it's a healing process. They're actually talking about their past. They're talking about their traumas through their speeches. And you watch them heal. And to watch and witness someone to heal through a process of speaking and doing that is incredible. It's an incredible experience to watch. So I've been a giver. I've been a giver all my life. And for some reason, I didn't understand until I come to Masterclass that when you're in the infinity loop of giving and receiving, that I was receiving and I never knew. That I was being looked after and I never knew, because I just continually gave. Everything that I got, every single little juice out of me, everything little drop. And don't think through my life I haven't been accused of things. People don't understand who I am. Like even at work and even in Toastmasters, people never like, how do you do that, Ranjeet? How do you do that? I can do things spontaneously. You can ask me to do something, just do it. And I didn't realise I was tapping in. Had no idea I was doing that. I just thought, oh, okay, I've used this before all my life since I was a kid. I love making people happy because I love dancing. So as a kid, I used to dance a lot to make other people happy because I just wanted them to be happy. I was happy anyway. I was happy anyway. So that's how I kind of did it. So getting to this place of where people, and I've had very short if someone talks to me about little petty things, about suffering, such as my clothes don't fit me anymore, or the juice stains stains my teeth, or any little, I've got a tummy upset, or got pain. That's why I don't get into the physical, Gino. That stuff, physical stuff, I just think, get over it. Literally, that's how I feel. I go, get over it. Because on the bigger scheme of things, there's children that are being sold for sex slave. There's that stuff going on. People have lost their homes. There's women in domestic violence who have nothing, right? And girls that are being raped, or even boys being raped. There's all this other shit going on. And someone says to me, oh, I've got to go to work and I've got grape juice stain on my teeth. It just doesn't fly. Like, I just don't get it. That stuff I just don't completely understand at all. And I understand, hopefully it connects them to maybe a past thing that might have happened for them when they were a child, and that can, do the onion layer thing, which I actually don't agree with the onion layer thing, because you can go straight to the realm and you can do it all there. You don't have to do it here. Don't have to do it in this slow pace world here, in the matter world, which is a dreamland. This is the dreamland. So that's hopefully explains to people, like, how the hell does Ranjeet, I don't know, 445 days maybe, Gino and Rana, I don't know, and only ate for 36 days, and very strict. I'm very strict. Like, I just did the protocol. I still do it. The actual protocol allows me to be grounded. Because I don't have to think. And I remember last year, and about the dry fasting, like, I really wanted to do more. You remember, I really wanted to do more dry fasting. Oh, my poor, to do more dry fasting. And both of you said to me, do it as the protocol. Do your full 12 to 14 hours a day, 24 hours a week. I was even doing 36, and I think you both even said to me, no, 24, Ranjeet. When I was going to do the 180 days, keep it at its minimum. Do your 3 days, a month, right? I did my 3 days when I was on my break. Like you told me, Gino, you said to me, on your break, Ranjeet, make sure you keep your dry fasting schedule. And I did. I listened to you. Why would I listen to you? Because you've had, 20 odd years of experience. You've had thousands of people that have come through here. Don't you think I'm not going to not listen? You know, here's a system that you can throw yourself into. You don't have to think. You don't have to mix it up with other realms. There's so many tools out there that you can utilize, you know, but why not use a tool that when you do if you really spiritually want to be connected to the soul, that when you do you work towards your 3-month, 3-day drive, and that you die to yourself and you resurrect a new being. And that happened to my first one when I was told, Ranjeet, you are dying to yourself and you're resurrecting a new person. Every time I do my 3-day drive, every time I do it. And then they taught me how to embody intention. Like Gabriella knows that when I said to you, Gabriella, I'm doing the 180 and it's already done. Remember that? Yeah. And I just said, it's done. I don't even have to even think about, what pain I'm going to have, this and that. I had pain. Don't get me wrong. And I'm going to talk about my pain because people want to know about my misery, pain and suffering, right? I talk about that and how I dealt with it. But when you told me about the dry fasting, Gino, that was just the bomb for me. It's just the bomb. But when you do it like in a slow pace and you do it over time and you allow the process to open up organically and let it unfold to where you are at instead of trying to push it, that is more power in doing it slow than doing it fast. Because if you do it fast and you try and be a hero of wanting to do a 5-day dry fast because I'm ready for it, I understand it, but I bet you any money your GI tract is not clean. Because what I understand now, that the majority of people, and I didn't know this, because when I was on my journey on the 108, I actually thought everybody followed the protocols of Master Fast System. I actually thought that. And then when you used to say to me, Gino, not many people do this, blah, 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 I thought, you're full of shit, Gino. Like, how come all those stories on the videos are talking about these people that are doing it and they've had these miraculous? I never believed you. I never believed you. And you say, Ranjeet, people aren't going to believe you either, Ranjeet. And I went, no. People doing this, we're fine, you know. But I followed the system. I was just like, I'm a good person to take direction, you know. I can follow when I have to follow and I can lead when I have to lead. And I took direction and I followed you. You were probably, and I think I've even said this to you in the past, you know, I've had many, many mentors. But I have to say, going through that journey in that 108 with you and Rana, you know, seeing you on the page, Gino, listening to you, I didn't realise I was even tapped into both of your fields. I had no idea. But I would have to say you're probably one of the best mentors that I've had. Because the reason why is because you always put the standard there, the standard of everything, nothing's impossible in the limitless realm. We can create and be and do whatever we want in this world, in this planet here. That stuff about the field strength and the plasma stuff and all that, I just like got it. I just said, yeah, I can go further. You know, everything's possible. And then both of you allowed me my space in that whole journey just to be me. No one, except for Toastmasters a little bit, very few areas in this world, work, your family organised institutions, no matter in the governments and the system, very few places will allow you to be you, to be truly you and not be judged in a space. Like I put my old videos back up there and for people to see where I was, like at the beginning of my 108, you know, I was very shy. You know, even though had strength in me, I was shy. I didn't want to do those videos. The soul told me to do it. So that 108, I never believed you. I just stuck into the system. I fully 100% focused. I totally disregarded everyone else. When I went onto the page, people were whinging and moaning because my mind is like, why are you whinging about something like that? Like I just disregarded it. I never even went into their whine because like I'm going, get over yourself. Literally, have you got a roof over your head yet? Great. Are you able to buy grape juice and do all that stuff? Great. Even though most of them aren't doing it, they're not doing the protocols anyway, right? They're not doing it. So like I'm going, well the other thing I used to think is, why are you here? Like I'm sorry to say this, but I used to go, why are you here? Why they're there is there's something in the, they're in the something with the MFS realm. There's something that pulls you in. There's a truth, there's an essence, there's a love, there's a beauty that is there that pulls people in. And that's the space I was pulled in, and I just gave it everything, absolutely everything. In my 108, I gave it everything. I taught myself, I tapped into the soul, I surrendered in everything. My first pain that I ever had, okay, first thing I had, cravings, right? First thing. I already knew I was going to have cravings before the cravings even happened because I watched the videos. I already know. So I said to the soul, I said, I'm giving you my trust and surrender. You better freaking get me out of cravings. And the only way you're going to get me out of cravings is if I go into presence. And the only way you're going to get me into presence, you're going to get me into awareness, and you've got to let me tap in. I'm demanding it. I said, because when I said yes to this, they cheered. They cheered with everything. They were elated. They were so happy. The divine took over, and they took me. It's the first experience I had in the realm. My first experience. They took me up into the realm. They provided me a feast table of all the food and everything I wanted. I had my MS family there, and we freaking ate. We drank. I smoked my cigars. We had a party. I danced, and I got rid of cravings in one episode that took me 4 hours when I went into the realm. And I got rid of it. And I've never really had cravings. I sometimes get these thought forms about, I feel like chips, or I feel like this or that, but I never ever had a craving for it. And then I knew I got rid of cravings is when I went to my parents' home because of the cultural food, and I had no desire for curries or anything like that. There was just no desire. It was just so amazing. And I've never had cravings ever. And also when you have the nectar of God, as you know, is that with the nectar of God, you taste the food in the back of your throat. You know, you taste anything that you want. Anything that you want. If you want to taste coffee, taste coffee. If you want to taste, just taste it. You know. So that 108, I had no idea. I just went through it. I wasn't in it. I never focused on pain, misery, or suffering. All I focused was on the view forward, being with God and being tapped in every moment. I did not want to miss 1 minute with the divine. I did not want to miss 1 minute. They taught me how to meditate. I never knew how to meditate. I never really did meditation before. Don't know. I probably did do it and I probably didn't realise. I used to go into meditation for 4 or 5 hours. I still do. I go into space. I know where I go now. I didn't know where I went before. I feel that I was being recoded in some ways, and bringing information back down here, as you can tell through my videos and everything else I've been through, and the downloads that happened and all that comes through. It's all from that flow, all from that limitless place. And I had no idea. I was actually in the now. You know, I was never ever thinking about, how do I understand this or that? I never read any books. I never did any of that stuff. I got rid of all information. I got out of groups. I got rid of people that weren't going to support me. I just focused on how do I live with the divine more, and how do I serve more? How do I give more? How do I become a better human more? Like, how do I do that? You know, that's all I focused on. And I didn't have time to focus on anything else. I didn't have time for distractions. I didn't have time to go to the movies. I didn't have time to put the TV on. I didn't have time for any of that. And then also I focused on was all your tools, the slow breathing, the 4-3-2 music, the body brushing, you know, learning how to be grounded, like putting my feet and soles on the ground and doing that stuff. How to increase the field strength? How do I increase nourishment into my body if I'm not actually, you know, using dense matter? And how do I prove to my mind, to keep my mind safe, that we're doing okay? You know, we haven't died yet. You know, haven't caused an injury, haven't gone to hospital. None of that suffering has happened. You know, all about, you know, being in that field strength continually. And the soul taught me. Being on the Zoom calls helped me, right? Because I was already being tapped into your fields, and that was all being downloaded on me, and I didn't even know that was even happening. I had no idea that was even happening. Like nothing was going to take me off this train. Nothing was going to take me off this train. And did more detachment, more emotional detachment, more of that stuff. And then it wasn't until April this year, just before the June season change, that when people kept asking me questions. And then I realised, the mind realised, Ranjeet, you've done actually something in the mind that's quite extraordinary. And I sat in that space and I thought to myself, well, how come it doesn't feel extraordinary? How come it feels so natural and normal? Like, well, it doesn't feel extraordinary to me. It feels like this is the way we're supposed to live. And, you know, this is how it was supposed to be, like before we were fallen and manipulated, corrupted, programmed. It wasn't, we're not supposed to live the way we're supposed to live, how we're living right now, in judgment. This world is so cruel. It's a cruel world. And we have just been destroying ourselves. And then I had the realization, my God, this master fast system and going towards a natural state, cleaning out your GI tract and doing all that is one of the most powerful things that a human can do. And I haven't gone into reading spiritual texts that people have been studying for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I ain't done any of that. All I've done is kept it really simple, follow the MFS protocols, go on the inward journey, trust and surrender in the soul, and keep releasing continually. And, you know, just being on that path. And that's all I focus on. I'm not focused on anything else, nothing else. And it worked. Because look where I am today, from where I was from August 26 last year. And here I am sitting in November 2019. You know, it's just been incredible. And so April, I kind of knew. And people asking me a lot of questions like, how do you surrender? How do you tap in the soul? How do you do this? How did you do your journey, Ranjeet? How come I can't do this? Why you? And I'm going, I don't freaking know. I don't really know. All I know is that the divine took over me. And all I know that I actually did have a strong mind. I did have a strong mind. And nothing was actually going to take this away from me, no matter what. And then I thought, well, how do I help other people? Because they're stuck. They're stuck between the mind and being in the awareness. They're stuck in that. How do I tap into that, stay in that? How do I, you know, get the experience that Ranjeet's having? You know, they're stuck. And then all those fears come in. Oh, you know, like I'm sure, you know, I can't do this because of my family, or I can't do this because I work, or I can't do this, you know, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you've got to find your own balance and how you do that sort of stuff. You know, I don't know what 2020 is going to hold for me. I have no idea. But all I know that I love being in the divine as much as I possibly can and love living through that source. I still sleep 3 hours a day. I don't know where that all comes from. I know that I'm in the limitless realm. And I think I've been in the limitless realm for a long time and not realizing it. I'm having realizations of what's really been going on, which is really quite interesting. That there's a lot of people that are doing this sort of stuff out there, but they're not maximizing it to its full potential. That when you actually clean out the obstructed body, and that you are continually releasing, and you're basically releasing emotions. You're releasing attached emotions from your body in every form. Everything has to be detached, including language, including culture, including institutions, including us. We have to detach so much emotionally, everything that we do. That's why I don't like that word trauma, because there's so many negative connotations to the word trauma. You know, use another word. You know, don't use these words that have emotional attachments to it. Like you always say, you know, big pharma words, legal words that we don't own, diseases that we don't have to own. We can say no. We don't have to use those words anymore. We don't have to use, I'm depressed. Don't use it. Or I've got this disease. Don't use it. Just use what you've said, imbalance and balance. That's all it is. Just because we've identified, broken it all down to all these different diseases. The fact is that the body's just imbalanced or imbalance. It's really that simple. But we want to complicate it in our mind, because the reason why, we make an excuse that it's a programmed mind. We make it an excuse that we eat. We make it an excuse. You know what? It isn't an excuse. It's the fact that you're not taking personal responsibility. Even me, I still got to take more personal responsibility. I still have to detach. I still have to do a lot. I've actually gone on this journey, and I realise even more, I've got more work to do. More. When you go down this track, there's more stuff that you have to do. It never stops. It never, ever, ever stops. You think that, okay, me being in this closest to the natural state right now is easy peasy, that, I do have these bliss moments, and I'm going to talk about that. Let me tell you, it is freaking tough. If you have to face every single mirror of truth that arises from your body, if you have to face every single thing that you've wronged in your life, even from when you're a baby, and you have to face all that, you got to face every single thing, the smallest thing that you can think of. Even when I used to tease my younger sister when I was a kid, every single thing you've done, and half of it isn't even really that bad. When people look upon you, they say, oh, that's okay. When you throw a piece of paper on the ground and you don't pick it up, okay, and you're not taking personal responsibility in that, that comes back at you. You have to face everything. Every thought that you have that comes into your mind, you actually have to face it. It's a mirror of truth, and when you go on this journey even deeper and deeper, and one thing that really affects me most at the moment is that when I don't intentionally hurt people and I hurt them, that is the biggest thing that I'm going through at the moment. I know intellectually what it's about, because I know me going through this process and what I go through, I know I've hurt people. I know I have. People have told me, and to face that is really, really, really tough when you know you intentionally haven't done it, and everything in your being just goes into meltdown. It goes into meltdown. And especially when you are, like, I think about, my husband or my family, or, people I really love and care about, especially when it happens in that space. Oh my God, I just crash. I feel it. I feel it more so. And that's where your sensitivity becomes very heightened. And when you've actually detached emotions, you're in this other different world of energy. It's all about energy. It has to me, it has very little to do with physical. It has very little to do with the mind. It has very little to do with emotions. It has everything to do with energy. Everything to do with that magnetic electrical fields that we feel, that's where we're operating from. But when you de-obstruct the body, nobody can really understand. I don't think there's anybody that can really understand where I'm in my body, in my space, in the empty space, unless you fully experienced it. So it doesn't really matter what I say, because you can maybe have had glimpses of, being in this and maybe understand it a little bit, but you can't fully experience that every day. When I wake up, I do full MFS day. Every day I just do a full MFS day. And that could be a dry or a wet. That's what I do. It's so habitual now that I don't even think about food. Like, I don't think about even social occasions. It doesn't affect me anymore. I don't even have any attachment or emotional attachment to the word food. So when people talk about food, I've got no feelings. There's just no emotional, there's nothing. It's like nothing. To me, it's just like a stone. To me, it's just like another energy form that it is. It means nothing to me. I understand it that it's used for celebration, which is great if you want to use it for a form of celebration and stuff like that. But I don't have no, There's nothing there. You could put a plate of food on the table. There's just no drawing into it. There's nothing drawing me into it. If you put a grape juice glass on the table, I'm drawn to it, you know. But so that's pretty much how, like, I think in some ways, you know, from last year to this year is how I kind of got to this space where I'm at now. I feel more empowered. I feel so strong. I'm so much more compassion. I'm so much feel my love, the ability to love on people and for people to receive that love is such a joy to me. And some of this stuff that I've gone through has just been incredible. The one thing that I've realized when you're doing this releasing and everything like that, it's all about alignment, that you are completely aligned to the source and the source energy and the electromagnetical fluids that come through your body. Like last week, I had this other experience that I hadn't had before. You know how you can hold the energy ball like this? You know, you can rub your hands, hold the energy. I can just hold the energy ball like this. The other night, I was so electrified in my body that there was like a force field that was coming off every single part of my skin. Like I felt this electric, it was out here. It was out here. And I hadn't felt that before. So you know what I do when I feel these things I haven't felt before? I'm in the unknown place. Because people might intellectually read it and understand it, but when you fully feel it, you have to surrender into it. So when you have these experiences that you haven't had before, you actually have to surrender into that field of what's really happening. So the soul's taught me to do the surrender more and more and more, deeper, deeper and deeper, because those fears aren't there as much when you're in the fasted state, right? So I surrender more into these electrical fields and source energy that I'm experiencing now, more so. So I just surrendered into it. When I surrendered into it, I just felt this complete joy. Because once you fall into whatever's going on, you go into joy, you know. So even if you have pain and suffering like that, I remember that experience I had in my 9-day season change dry fast I did. I had excruciating liver pain for 4 hours. Most people would have gone to emergency services. When I had that excruciating pain in my liver, do you know what I did? I went into the pain, I went into the space, and I just surrendered into it. And I handed it over to the divine. And it just went. Same with my wound pain. My wound pain, I've had 3 of them, and they've been absolutely excruciating. Keeled over in bed, crying, you know, and just in pain, absolute pain. I did the same thing. I surrendered into it. Actually, one time my hands heated up. The soul told me to put my hands on where my pain was. I did that, and it went. You know, so you just got to really trust into when you can't know everything. We live in the unknown place when we go here. You can't know that, but you have to have this ability to surrender and trust. You know, it's like when just say if you're in a car and you're driving along and you're about to hit a vehicle, or you see a vehicle that's about to hit you. It's in that moment that you actually surrender to the force or the power that's just about to happen. You've got no control over it. There is no control. You can't control it. So that is the point where you kind of fall into that space and you just surrender into it. Like a lot of women here have had babies. You know, when you're actually giving that childbirth and all that sort of stuff, it's that moment that you don't know what's going to happen. You know, you just surrender and fall into that space. And the surrendering, I think, in my journey has probably been one of the most important aspects besides intention. Because the intention is not something that you actually make up in your mind. The intention is something that comes from the source. It is divinely created already. But what you have an ability to do when you clean out your GI tract and you are tapped in, is that you have this ability to tap into the intention. So when you have that ability to tap into the intention, what is it that you put emotion behind it and take action on it to create that intention to manifest into this world? What is it that you actually do with that intention? You have just already been given the gift of intention. So when I was given the gift of the intention of that I want to do master fast, that I wanted to have that intimate personal experience with the divine and source, and to live through this and be a better human, and to have that on this human planet, be the best human possible. What did I do with that intention? Did I just leave it, park it, write it down, maybe look at it every now and then? Oh, that's a really interesting intention. No. You embody it. So the soul somehow taught me how to embody intention and put emotion behind it. And then when you put emotion behind it, you've got the motion, right? So the ocean emotion thing. So when you do that, you realize then you're actually not using any will. It is actually effortless. So when I do meditation, or when I move my body, or I do any of that stuff, there is no effort. There's no thinking about it. It's like it's taken over you, and it just it does it itself. So, but the key thing with that is how you embody the intention and put the emotion in it. So when I do the full moon stuff, I try and help people to say, this is how I do new moon when I set the intention of that month. People see my videos. I'm full on. Like, I'm so obsessed with intention, because it's just so important that how we, in this bigger realm of the bigger picture, on the gift that we've been given for fasting, that when we set the intention and fully 100% embody that form, that entity, like our physical form is just an entity, we're just a form. Intention is a form. In everything we do, we have this capacity to create on a bigger scale for us to change the consciousness, not the other way around, for us to do it. We're the ones responsible. We are, no one else. But we get caught up in all these distractions, these lies, these stories, these things that are going on that aren't even true. It doesn't mean anything, nothing. So when you embody that intention, it's an opportunity of a gift that you are graced with. And then when you move through it and you fully 100, because you need to come into belief, right? So you actually fully believe this is going to happen. See, I fully believe I'm having an intimate relationship with my divine. And then you better believe it, I'm freaking having an intimate relationship with my divine. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm going to explain that in a minute too. But you actually go through this phase, and when the soul teaches you and you surrender into it, you have this capacity, which you're a big, massive power force. Like the power in us, even though it's just the size of a little pinky thing, but when you bring in that power from you know where and in you, it comes in with you, and you have this thing going on, and it's just like a magnetic thing that keeps going on. It's like a full momentum. You just can't stop it. Like you're just on this freaking bloody rocket ship or train or whatever you're on, and you're just propelled forward. And that's how you can actually bring manifestation fast here on this realm, is if you are tapped into that, and they all know, everyone knows what's going on or whatever's going on, and you tap into that. Don't worry or think about, or try and even freaking understand it. Just be in it, and then you go into intention. You start embodying the intention, and you use all the fields around you. People ask me, what do you do all day? Man, you need to spend a week with me to really work out what I do all day. I go hug a tree. I go on the ground. I ground myself continually. I actually talk in the atmosphere. I have words and downloads that come through me, and I'm just cutting it through the atmosphere. I'm just so much in this, and the intention is so important. And my intentions pretty much come into fruition, even through my full moon, my season changes. And sometimes I get a little bit scared, but I don't worry about it anymore, because I always think, well, if I transition over, I know where I'm going because I've seen it. You know, I know where I go. So this physical form, really, at the end of the day, you're just borrowing it. The body is just borrowing it. So don't worry about, your health thing or anything like that. Once you tap into all that sort of stuff and you're aligned, it's all sorted. It's all sorted, because everything that's happening in your external environment is a reflection of what's happening on the internal environment. So if you're not working on the internal, it's not working out on the external. And you know what? The soul tests you. It tests me all the time. If I'm not working in full integrity and all that sort of stuff, it just tests me. And I know my external environment is not aligned to my internal environment. That's when I know. And that's when I have to go, okay, well, what's really going on? I need to go more inward. I need to do some more meditation. I need to go retract a little bit. I need to do some stuff with me and work all that stuff out and do that stuff, because it's always continually testing you. I've been tested so many times. I can talk about that, but it's just a long story. So it's just a continual, the intention and having that alignment is just is amazing. It's just amazing. And this is when you talked about, a lot about cycles and season changes. I never really fully understood it until I had an experience, right? And my first experience when I did the full moon 3-day dry was in June of this year. And it was season change, and I did a 3-day dry. And it was probably one of the most miraculous things that still occurred to me, the massive shift that happened in June. That's when I went into my light body, which I know people don't fully understand, but I got pushed out into my light body. I didn't know that was pretty freaky in a little way, because when I came back into my body, I realized I forgot all my family. I forgot my husband. I forgot all my friends. I forgot all the emotions. I didn't remember anything. Everything was forgiven and forgotten. Nothing was there except only I could experience was the pure essence of love. That was it. That's all I can remember feeling. And then I knew, like, getting rid of emotional attachments is a huge thing. You have to do that. And then I had the oil thing that happened on my eyebrow, and that's when I realized about the nectar of God. And that's when I had my next thing that happened, got corrected. And that's when I started to know changes in my body, my physical form. And
What
it was
happened
a
with your
real,
neck?
sorry, my neck.
What
So
was it?
I used to have big pain here, across here. And what happened is that it was like something went inside of me, and it was like it was trying to fix things, sort of thing. And it really hurt. It was excruciating, and I just surrendered into it. And my neck was always really tight, and it was very hard to move. I can move it really. And it was just tight. It was hard all across here, And once they did that in June, it really hurt for about 3 or 4 days. It was real pain. It was like a big bruise. And then after it all happened, it's like another awakening happened. It was like another shift happened. Like maybe the third eye, I don't know. But I noticed that time, this is where it all kind of really happened for me. Right? It all really, the spiritual realm or whatever realm, that it's really like it was ready to give me more. And it was from between June and August, where I had my Kundalini experience. April I had my first Kundalini experience, then I had more. So I've had about 14 or 15, maybe a bit more now, since 14 or 15 Kundalini type of experiences. Freaking fucking amazing, like, honestly. And then I've had ones where you can free exit. So then I've come into realization is that I went through this phase where I actually found my female energy, because I've been operating in my male energy a lot all through my life. Focus, don't deal with, emotions and all that sort of stuff, how to handle things. I was very much like focused on things. My brain vision, I work with pictures, so I can see things very quickly. So, but when I tapped into that female side of me and becoming balanced, the female took over me, and I started to feel these, I won't call them lustful experiences. There were more your lower bottom part of where all that, well, they call it the sexual energy. That whole thing just absolutely exploded through my body, and I just really freaked out. That's why I did that dancing, for the divine. That's why I did all that stuff. I was very open and vulnerable about it, because I'm like thinking, what the hell's gone on? What has happened to me? Like, I felt like a brand new being going through this. And it was very, very hard. I think when we did that, you did the interview with Ella, Tom, my energy was just way too, it was high. It was so high. And I couldn't find the ability to really channel it in and slow it down. I tried to do grounding, but sometimes when you even do grounding and you go hug a tree and that, it actually spins it out even more. And you just like, you go, what's going on? And I'm asking for help and all that stuff. But when you do that interview with Elaton, and he said to me, well, he said to us, you can turn it down. I started to do that. And because I wasn't sleeping either, I was trying to figure out, well, where do I get my rest? And you can meditate 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and just, I did that. You sit in your chair and you meditate, and then you're fine afterwards. So learning that, all that etheric energy and how you manage all that, that was just incredible. And not only when I went through that stuff, Gino and Rana and everyone else here, when I went through that, I actually had to go through every single sexual partner that I had, and I had to release all the attachments to it. I went through the whole lot. I didn't have that many, by the way. I didn't have any sexual partners, but, everything that, all that stuff that you've got to go through. And it can be quite tough, I reckon, for women, especially when you know that 1 in 2 women have been sexually abused in some way, or that way. And I in December, after my 108, because when this is what I want to talk to some people about, when your energy is very high and the divine's out. When I went to some of my Christmas parties, I got groped, by a couple of men, and I didn't know what was going on, right? I haven't expressed that here, but this is what happened and how to deal with that. And I was going, well, I was like, I released it all, and I got upset and cried about it and all that sort of stuff. I got through all the emotional stuff about that. And then I was like sitting back, looking back, and I'm going, well, I'm feeling this stuff that's opened up. What's really going on? Because you go into this field and these people are magnetically attracted to you, right? And you're wondering, you're trying to push them back, and you're working out, well, what's this energy stuff that's really happening? And you don't understand what's really going on. And you really got to trust within your intuition and your soul when that stuff happens. Because I started to stop going to social occasions, because I realised I'm not really fully processing, because it's too slow in the matter world. Like, how you always say that to me, like the things in the matter world are slower compared to what comes down. So I really took that I took that in. So what I did, I stopped going to social occasions, and I went into like what's really happening here. And I took that personal responsibility for myself. And now when I had that goddess energy, or whatever you want to call it, euphoric energy, I call it euphoric, ecstasy, whatever it is, don't think it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. But when you go into that, then you realize that energy is one of the most powerful source of energies that you can actually tap into. It is the transcendence. It is the transcendence. And I haven't read that in any book. I haven't read that anywhere. I have just gone internal and just discovered it internally, and trusting in the soul and the divine. They didn't want me to read anything. And I said, I won't read anything, So when I tapped into that, I went, same thing, surrender and trust in the soul. So I went in and I started to experience this. And I thought, okay, well, I might as well experience it. And I did. So I have times where I just have a really good time with the divine. And it's not lustful. It's a different thing. It's very hard to understand because your mind's not engaged. You're not engaged. It's the source, and all that is what's really happening. So it's the energy that's actually really happening. And it's a very joyful, blissful, ecstatic reward that you get to experience. For a woman, I'm sure it's the same for a man, but for a woman, let me tell you, it's freaking amazing. Freaking bloody amazing. It's worth going through all that to have those moments with the divine and God.
keep
It's
that thought.
amazing.
A
Yeah.
lot of the societies have sexually oppressed us to the hilt. And what do they use in marketing? Sex.
Sex.
Bang! It's so easy to draw it in because we've been so sexually oppressed. And
So, Gina, what's the two biggest addictions then? What's the two biggest
food and
addictions?
sex.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you tap into something like this and you get your freedom, then you have a realization, holy moly, have we been lied to? Have we been lied to? That's why I do what I do with all my videos and how I try and just want to support our family so much. I just love you so much because when you get into these spaces, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, it's it's the marketing. That's where food and lust is really correlated, right? Really correlated. So the denser the food that you eat, like meat, chicken, all those animals, the more lustful you become.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I got groped. They had sausages at the place. They had all that sort of stuff. You know.
We
Yeah.
take on all the emotions of the animal when we eat them.
Yeah, we do. We do. So being in this space at the moment is it's interesting. It's still tough. It's still tough, Gino. And I don't know if it's for everybody. And to find that balance for people that want to go here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah, not everybody. Yeah, but I love it. I'm so obsessed with it. I love fasting so much. I love having a pristine, clean vessel. I just love being clean on the inside. I just love the feelings of the energies that come through me. I just love the ability to serve at the best possible, position I can serve in. I think I've been taken over by the divine. I really, really do. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think I had a choice. In some ways, maybe I did. I don't know. But sometimes I feel that. I really do feel that. I just love people so much, and I love people to be in freedom and in liberation because we don't have to live the life that we've been told to live. We can just let it all go. And you know what? It actually is simple to let it all go. It really is simple. But we just complicate it and not make it easy for ourselves. That's all it is. You see this, and some people might see this. You see this happening, right? And you look at all the beautiful people here, everywhere, and ones that want to come on this journey, and you see their struggle. You see where they're stuck, but you can't do anything for them because they're not willing to let go. They're willing to hold on to everything, every word that you say, or every comparison that they make, or judgment, or whatever it is. They just hold on to it. It's mine, it's mine. Like when you're a little kid and you've got a toy, it's my toy. No one's going to take this away from me. I'm attached to it. No, I'm glad I didn't get any toys. Didn't have any much attachments. It's mine, give it to me, mine, me. Stop taking it away from me. All about me, even my career, my identity of my career. Oh, that's me. It's who I am. Ranjeet Cavanagh, HR, human resources. It's me. I attach myself to all those words, terminologies, everything that goes with it, and you get sucked into that vortex. See you later, because it's screwed up. Pharmaceuticals, it's all screwed up. So I think we have a choice on what realm we want to choose. And we have a choice on when we wake up in the morning, how we live. We have a choice to be in the now, and we have a choice to be in our open heart space. When you open up this every morning, you've already set your day up for love. You just set your day up for love. And it makes it easier to master fast. When you've opened that, done your rituals in the morning, I ground myself, put my feet on the ground, I'm in gratitude straight up every single time I rise. Even if it's like 4:00 in the morning, I put my ground, gratitude, electricity comes through my body. I'm in. I'm in the space. I just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Repetition, repetition, repetition. You know, you keep talking about what you keep saying, you know. You keep saying the same stuff. You know, people might be bored coming on Zoom, but keep saying it. Repetition, reprogram the mind, reprogram the mind, reprogram the mind. We can get rid of that other bloody old bullshit. It doesn't even exist anymore. It doesn't even exist. You know, Joe Dispenza, Braddon, and Lipton, they're onto it, right? They are onto it. But guess what? So are we. We are more onto it. We are more onto it. You know, tap in, go inward, trust yourself. Don't worry about other people. If you get a bit complicated or things you don't understand, just let it go. Just let it go. You know, when you let go and detach emotions, you know what comes through? New emotions. You end up living in a space of high emotions continually. Like you walk around and you're just in a buzz. This continual wow, everything. That's why sometimes when people talk to me, right, like explaining things to me, I'm not in my mind. I don't get it. I don't get it. And, you know, Warren talks to me or my dad talks to me and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I don't understand what you're saying. I just don't understand it because I'm just in this other place of just beauty and I don't get it. And, but you do have to come into your mind. You do have to align yourself. That's what I'm teaching myself. Is I'm in here, above the observed state, above awareness. You're here, you're in it, and all the energies are all around you, and you're swirling. And then you've got to come into your mind, and then your mind does what it's supposed to do. But however, is the mind really the mind? Who is the mind? That's the question. Who is the mind? We go on blaming the mind, program mind, all that stuff, because we like to blame things, right? But who is the mind?
You know, women, well, let's put it, men, we have the power to take life away. Women have the power to give life and take life away. There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
And the power of the feminine is so underestimated, and it's why it's been suppressed for what, thousands of years or whatever. And I'm sure there was cultures where they elevated the women because they understood. It's not that anybody is better than anybody else, but that's the position, that the way the structure of the divine and creation made it. It's just the way it is. And the other thing about, you know, why we have such an emphasis on keeping the realm of MFS closed, not separate, closed to the outside world, is so we can elevate the outside world and bring it up and elevate their souls. Because when we start mixing up in that caca out there, how are you gonna focus on what we're trying to do? Good luck. People have been doing it. It doesn't work. Having it closed with that sharp focus, boxed in, all your intent and emotion, we can elevate the whole planet very easily. We'll play out there. Go for it. Good luck. It's very, very, very challenging, and so many have showed us over and over and over again what happens when they go out there and they're not part of the group. They come back and they're all, I got to get back in.
Yeah.
Why don't you just stay in it and leave this caca where it belongs? Flush it down the toilet. Don't come and dump it in Masterfast. You know, your decades of caca. Flush it down the toilet. Thank the universe. Thank the Mother Earth for recycling it for you. You know, when we got to focus on, you know, continuously supporting and elevating each other, because out there we've already done that. It doesn't work. It's just destruction after destruction, you know, destroying this planet. So that's why we really focus on keeping it closed with so much emphasis on that. The whole system has a reason for it, and it's not from my doing. It's from the download information, because I have nothing to do with it. So we continue to put one step in front of the other. And what have we been doing for the last 4+ years? Same thing over and over. Just opening up a little more information, a little more and a little more as it comes through, as the experiences come through. And that's all we're doing. There's nothing, no rocket science here. It's just trusting in the soul and continuing and being devoted, you know, and this is what happens when we go into those realms of the limitless places, because it's just magical. If people don't believe it's magical, okay, well, I don't know what planet you're on, because you must be pretty blind if you haven't seen the magic. You know, like we said, you know, I've said before, people aren't looking for proof, they're looking for excuses not to. And that's the same thing over and over and over. And I'll let you continue. Beautiful soul.
Gino, you know, when you go on this journey, you know, the love just increases so much. You know, the heart space increases so much. And sometimes it's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming. I know I cry so much because of the joy and the love that even now I'm feeling everyone's love through this screen. And, you know, I get so many messages of love and support from people. I never, ever, ever did it for that. I never, ever did this for anything like that, or for what I get back in the infinity loop. And it's just so incredible, the family that's here and what we feel with each other, that I've never experienced this before. The amount of love that comes back, right? You guys would have that too. And you know, it's so overwhelming. I would honestly say, I can't tell you. Some of them aren't even from MFF. Some of this is random people. And I just don't understand. Like, I go, where the hell does this come from? You know, and I just praise God. I just go, why are you rewarding me so much? I'm just you know, sometimes I feel like, because the mind's still there, I'm just a manipulated, corrupted piece of crap shit person. This worthless piece of nothing. Like, I feel like that sometimes, right? You know, because it's in the mind. The mind's still there. And I feel like, why give me this love? I don't want it. Why me? Why? I don't want, you know, I want it for you. You know, I'm happy for everyone to take everything from me if you want to. You can take everything from me. I live in the limitless realm. It's just continuous. That's why I'm able to give so much. It's because you're right, you know, when you operate from the realms, it's like a place that you haven't been before. And you go, what is this? Like, I'm just so curious, like a little kid or a little cat, you know, just so curious about these realms and what it means. And the other thing too, you know, you can get caught there. You can get caught. And that's why I feel when you're aligned and you're doing the divine's work in service and not playing around in the realms and wasting your time, actually be purposeful with what you're doing. So I use it to manifest the intentions on this planet. So the intention that's actually given to me, I utilize it to manifest here for its purpose. I will play with it in the realm and do that stuff. The other thing I use the realms for now, because I am still blocked up, I am still obstructed, the energy is way too high that comes through my body, I go up into the realms for them to help me move the energy out, because I can't do it here. It's really, really, I find it a lot more difficult, and it's helped me a lot. Because when you have that poor foul, you know, since June, poor foul force energy, it just happens. And that's when these cycles and season changes come really important, and the patterns that get formed for you is that I've seen how when the planets are not aligned, when I go up into the realms and see things, and you know, when the planets are not aligned, you know there's chaos down here. You know there's chaos going to be down here. So then for you personally, what does it mean? Well, that's when you either have to pray more, meditate more, do stuff like that. Well, probably what the yogis do, I suppose, up in their caves or whatever. you realize that you have a responsibility now where you may have to do a few things here on this planet, and really those other negative energies should actually be repelled from you, so you don't get caught up into the vortex of it. Okay, because when those things aren't aligned and things aren't happening, when they talk about Mercury retrograde and all that sort of stuff, I don't fully understand it, right? I don't get it. But I go, okay, it just means you're not aligned to me. It's just not balanced. So it's so you see this stuff, patterns and cycles forming, and then you become responsible because the soul tells you, right, what's going on in a way. You don't fully understand it, but you just go through the process of the now and experience it. And then you kind of, as you go along this journey, it becomes habitual. So you get into these habits and you're sort of creating this new way of living. It's a new lifestyle, and you work within cycles and season changes and patterns more so than the economical time frame that we've got. In August, I was told to denounce my birth certificate energetically. I did it. It was instant. It came in my head. It was just a few days before my birthday. You need to denounce your birth certificate. I did it. When done it, I am no longer I'm not my. There's no such thing as age. There's no such thing as age. There's only space. And this is a physical form, as we know, we can regenerate. So age has nothing to do with anything. Nothing. It's just for your license, getting married. It's just economic. Nothing to do with it.
Contract.
So when you contract, yes, right, contract. So when you go into these realms and these cycles and this world that's there, you've got to be so assured of yourself, so that when you balance out your male and female energy within yourself, that which is electrical and magnetic, I think that's what it is, and then you balance that out and you live in that world of electrical magnetical fields in your body, because that's what we're made of, stars, moons and planets. We're not made of dense matter. Then you kind of have realizations of what's really happening. So excuses, blame, all that sort of stuff, they seem to start to dissipate, even though it's still in your memory, that those neurons are still in your brain about that stuff. They seem to dissipate a lot more, so they become not as important, and you create different energy in a different world, and a lot of people are attracted to that. There's animals, like I showed you that photo of that lizard, like how I got those lemons. They're just little things that happen, right? But you know what? They happen all the time. They happen all the time. It's just happens. It's not, to me, like I go, oh, that's just normal now. Synchronization is just normal. And the realms become very important. The cycles become very important. And field strength becomes very, very important. So what I'm learning now for me in this space is I'm continually seeking field strength. So that's why I love hugs, because when a person has got their open heart space and you put their head in their open heart space, the field strength in that is huge, especially if they're empty space, especially if they're not eating, living in a natural state, because that whole thing is just open up. And you just go, this is just really powerful stuff. So when we come together, like you say, when you come together, you're growing something of a field strength. That's why I like doing doing the protocols with the full moon, is that when you're growing this field strength, is it's expansive, and you feel this expansion happen. And anyone that's not even fasting or not even doing anything, if you're actually tapped into it, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it, and you're going to have some shifts happen. And then you're going to have a realization saying, oh shit, I should be fasting. And then it doesn't make it difficult. It doesn't make it difficult, because you're in it, because all those other fears going on, whatever, oh, I've got to go to work, and people think I'm going to get too skinny and all this stuff, that happens. Freaking don't worry about it. Like, honestly, I just think don't worry about it. Like, just do what you got to do. If you feel a pull, freaking do it. Freaking do it. Don't waste any more time. We haven't got time to waste anymore. You see what the world's doing. We see what's happening. I'm not saying we can change everything, but freaking hell, can we change the corner of our planet to where we're living at? You know, when I go see my family, they have freaking grape juice for me. They can't get enough of my love. You know, when you're genetically connected to your ancestry line and things like that, when you do you, what the freaking hell do you think you do for everyone else? Has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with you. Has everything to do with everyone else. When you get off your bloody perch and realise off your ego and all that sort of stuff, and you realise freaking hell has nothing to do with me. I feel like swearing, but I won't. But I just, you know, that stuff really bothers me. Shake yourself up and get over your bloody shit. You know, get over it. Don't compare. Stop comparing. Stop it. You know, and go into you and do you. You help your ancestors. You will heal past, present, and future when you do you. Imagine that. Imagine the 30,000 people in Master Fast system freaking cleaning out their GI tract and living closest to the natural state. Actually, doing a wet day is freaking like living in a natural state compared to the other groups. I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry to say these people that are on pranic. I'm sorry to say these people that are breatharians. I do not agree with any of those terminologies whatsoever because they still eat. But if you they have this perception, and I really don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. But if you do even just do a wet day in Master Fast system, you're more closer to the natural state than someone going doing a juice fast, and they think they're in the natural state. No way. No way. Juicing still obstructs the body. You know, you're not. You're lying to yourself. If you're not destructing the body, you're not releasing. And if you're not releasing the emotional attachments that come with that. It all plays in correlation with each other. It all plays correlation with each other. I won't tell you, if the divine brought me here, got me to do a glorified dry fast, I've experienced it. I'm living proof. You've seen all my videos. I have not hidden. I've been completely open, and evidence is there, and there will still be people that don't believe me. Woohoo for you, because you're missing out. And, you know, if you don't see what my journey is, does not give you inspiration and does not give you the empowerment, women, come on. We don't need to be oppressed and suppressed anymore. We need both male and women to be free. You know, we need them. We need both. And, you know, women have been oppressed for so long. Come on, don't be scared. You know, we do this together. We walk together. We liberate together, and we maximize and expand as much as we possibly can in this consciousness and this time and place right now. We can change it. We can change it, and we can have the lamb lying with the lion, Juno, like you say. That can happen. It's already starting to happen. So if it's already starting to happen, let's speed it up. Let's speed it up. I know they've said to me how we can speed it up. I'm learning even for my own life how I speed up manifestation in this world, in here. And don't think of your own selfish intention. I need to heal my knee. It's going to happen anyway when you're whole and healed through de-obstructing. It's going to happen anyway. And the love will always, always win. Always win. Always. It's all in the scripture. It's all apparently it's all been set out. Love will conquer. Love actually means Jesus. I think Yeshua. I think, or maybe in also in other scriptures as well. It always wins. You know, it's just that you've got to just do it. Don't have to do what I do. Living a full MFS and just doing the protocols. You know, just doing a level, like those levels that that are there for you. Do level freaking bloody 2. How hard is it to do level 2? 1 day dry and 1 day wet and 5 days of just having some fruit or whatever, or clean food, not hard, not hard. We make it hard, not you, we make it hard. And you know what, Gino? I freaking love my lifestyle. I freaking love it. Going through it all and all that stuff, every single event I've experienced in my life to date, all the experiences that I've had, Every time I've had an experience, good, bad, or indifferent, the face of God was always sitting behind that empty space. When I look back behind the thought, there is the energy. There is the field strength. There it is, sitting right freaking there. It's there right now. It's here right now. You know, we feel it. We feel it. We know our feelings. Trust in them. They're the best guidance that you can ever have. It is so freaking powerful. Don't let anyone else ever tell you anything different. Don't engage. Knock that energy back. You know what's real. You know what's real. I don't even have to tell you, or you don't have to even say anything, do you know? We already know. When we go internal, we know. We know and we know and we know. Trust that. Surrender to that. Once in your lifetime, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. And if you do lose everything, it can be recreated. Everything can be created. Yet again, I've done it. We lost $250,000 taken from us. We recreated it. You can recreate it. No matter what's taken from you, it gets given back to you 1,000-fold. Always. Always. You know, so, you know, that's all I got to say.
Are those the only challenges you described that you had, the liver and the womb?
Yeah, knee pain, neck pain, hip pain. There's been, when I was doing that crane, before that cranial thing, I had head pain, like up here and that. It's all gone.
The most severe one was which one?
I used to have pain up here, and I think it had to do with my neck. It was really quite severe. I think, I don't know. That's all gone. My toes, so I used to have a little bit arthritic, well, they say arthritic or inflammation. So my hands and my feet, they're all gone. My toes are straightened out. They were really bent, and I had bunions. They've decreased. Well, you know, I couldn't dance before. Anemia. Okay, so that was a big thing. So my anemia, I'm not going to get a blood test done, but I'm much more freaking, you can tell. The other thing I don't get is I change so much. So, like my sister says to me, "Oh, Ranjeet, you don't look like us anymore," sort of thing, like, you know, the genetics. So sometimes I wake up and I go, "I look different." And I go, "Oh,
genetics, of course."
Yeah. So that stuff, yeah. So that going back to my eye colour's changing. So going back to that blueprint thing, do you know? I know it takes years and years and years. It will take forever, actually, I think. But that 9-year cycle, that I understand how, yeah, you got it. This is a forever journey to me. So fasting is a forever journey, and it's not an event. So because even you're breathing in the air or whatever you're doing, there's always obstructions that are going to be formed. Even your gans, like the emotional stuff, things coming at you, to me, they're obstructions. Because when I go get a colonic done runner, sometimes it's just water comes out, right? And I know it's just the emotions just coming out. You know what I mean? I know it's that other stuff coming out, the gassy stuff. So that must, you know, like I kind of like feel, well, obviously I'm always in this planet, going to always somehow be obstructed. But I feel protected a little bit, like I don't get as much negative energy come towards me as much. So I don't know if you ever get to real pristine or light body type of stuff. Yeah, so that whole, when that thing happens when you're changing, sometimes it feels like a bit of a shock. Like you can wake up and you go, oh, where did all those lumps go? I had lumps on my arms here and they all disappeared. Like one day I woke up, they're gone. And you go, where did that go? Yeah, so that stuff's really sort of, yeah, the miraculous. So that, you know, like what Kelly Kibley's talked about, and, you know, you know, Gibson. You know, there's so many of those stories that are in there. Marine, you know, like what he's gone through, an absolute miracle. When you go through it, you're personally yourself, you actually understand why that's actually happened for those people. right? Because the miraculous happens, and the miraculous is here. Like I don't wear glasses. My teeth, my mouth is incredible. Mouth is just amazing. I used to have tooth pain, all that sort of stuff like everyone else had. Not anymore. Your skin. Oh, yeah. Skin is just awesome. Baby soft, beautiful. Sometimes I feel like I've had a free facelift. And I don't know, it's obviously hydration must be, do you know? I don't know, but my skin feels plumpish. I don't feel gaunt. I'm going to say I've had a free boob lift too. So there, you know, all that stuff happens. The only thing that's happening to me that I know is going to take a bit of time is because of the dramatic weight release. I do have some skin folds on my stomach, so that's still sitting there, and I believe that will maybe take some time, which is okay because that's pretty huge. So when I get a flat stomach and it's really got a six pack nearly, I'll show you. But my body, the soul has told me to get strong, to do more physical stuff. I have more energy to do physical stuff. I can do push-ups and sit-ups, and I couldn't do that before when I was eating food. No way, no way, no way, no way, no way.
Yeah.
But
It's a year now.
I started full MFS 26th of August 2018. I had a 2-month break, which is 36 days of eating, and we are now 16th of November. I believe it's 440 maybe, Gino, 36 days of the break. Yeah, over the break.
You know,
I never in my whole life ever thought about, and I think you guys know this, I never ever thought about giving up food. I never ever thought about being a breatharian. I never thought about living a chronic lifestyle. I never thought about that. I never thought about healing my body. Nothing at all. One thing. Intimate relationship with the divine, close as possibly I could. Intimate, you know, deep, deep, deep relationship. And that comes through in my personal life too. I want deep relationships. Deep. No, want to have proper conversations. Want to know how we can help this planet a bit more. Want to know, you've got to know people when you do that, you know. That's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. Don't care. And I tell people I haven't been sexually active for 6 years. So I think that has a lot to do with it too, because when you get cleaned out and the womb gets really, really clean, I notice that, you know, that helps because your mind's not engaged in that sort of stuff. And so I like that a little bit. So I sort of think I might, I don't know what 2020 is going to be, but I like to continue a little bit more on that path a bit to see where that actual really takes you, because now I'm fasted, de-obstructed, you know, and I'm not, my lustful mind is not there. So it's quite nice. So you're in a different energy form. You're working with something very different and it's more powerful. And I kind of want to sort of like protect that a little bit. So I'm going, you know, that's kind of a space I really like being in. So I kind of want to go that way. I don't know what's going to happen in 2020. I don't know if I'm going to eat food or not eat food, or what's going to happen. I don't know if people want me to record when I eat food, or I just don't know, you know. I don't plan for that.
It doesn't matter.
You know, it doesn't matter. But I do believe I've released the addictions, the emotional attachments and addictions to dense matter and food. I believe I've released that. And I will protect it no matter what. I will never, ever go back, ever go back for food to have control over me from a point of addiction. Never, ever. I will guarantee, I can say that. I think I can say that. And if I choose to go back, if it ever happens, then I'll let you know, you know, who knows how life takes you and what journeys you go on, you know. If it happens, I think it'll probably happen in situations where I care about someone else, or a celebration, or, you know, something like that may happen in that way.
Yeah,
for love.
the journey of 15 months, it's a very short time. And
Mm.
even in that short time, how much transformation can happen. It's incredible.
Mm.
When you go 5 years, 10 years, and then we'll see what happens when people start going into that time frame. But
Yeah,
it's remarkable what happens in just a short time. It's just incredible.
it's incredible. It's actually, you're right, Gino, in such a short time. You're right, year and a half is nothing. Look how long you've been fasting for. Or been in the journey, I suppose. You know what I mean? Freaking nothing. It's forever. It's beautiful lifestyle. Everything's just so different. You see things so differently, you know what I mean? Everything's just so beautiful and loving. Colours that you see are so different. I did a blindfolded meditation for 24 hours during my season change dry fast. And when I took the blindfold off, you see colours so differently. They're luminescent, It's incredible. I'd like to do more of that sort of stuff, venture into, what you can do from home. You don't have to go to a cave. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do everything from your home. Everything. That's how we can live like a little bit like a yogi if you want to in this here while we're still doing all this stuff that's going on. We've got the toughest life. We've got the toughest. There's so much around us that distract us, And if anyone that's actually even doing master fast on any level, what you're even doing now, you are way ahead of the majority. You are in a place where you are, wow, blessed, graced, more so than anyone, Do you have any questions, Gino?
Yeah, that's about what I was going to say. Anybody have any questions? The floor is open.
Hey,
Go.
I don't really,
Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I did want to go on record, okay, and say this to you on the call. But I know I posted this in the other group, but I don't know why exactly you reached out to me, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like I mean, I always kind of knew this was my home, but after the 108, I just got so discouraged with the pain and shit going on inside of me, and I just left frustrated, like it was just another modality that wasn't going to work. I'd literally written it off. And you heard me say today, the pain has released in my feet. But that is nothing. I was on the phone with my dad today, and I don't know if you remember, Gino, like right when I think I was about 3 or 4 weeks into my first 108. And I think it was one of my very first posts on the page. And I was just like, I just done so much emotional work with my dad to try to release this. And I just feel so much anger. I just couldn't even believe it, like how much anger was coming forth. Like it was like I was feeling hatred on top of that. It was so intense. My dad has noticed a change in my heart. And I was talking to him today, this week. And my dad has always been a very dominant person. Like if you don't do what he says, you are going to be punished. And not just mentally. It was like mentally, physically, and spiritually. He had special tools in all realms. And literally by the time I was a teenager, I was seriously questioning his love for me as a father, even though he worked tirelessly to provide for us. Clearly he loved us. I was just caught in a place, right? So I'm talking to my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, how's it going? And we start talking about spiritual things. And he said to me, Scott, I never want to control you ever again. I would ever want to try to dominate your will ever again. And I knew it was because he could see a new strength in my heart. And I knew that he had come to a different place himself. But I honestly have to say, this has been going on with me and my dad for well over 20 years. And it hasn't been until I got into this heightened level with Master Fast that it resolved. So my life path is forever altered in a good way. And, you know, Gino, I mean, I'm thinking Ranjeet, I mean, she just reached out to me, but literally, man, I'm telling you, there have been so many times. I mean, I know I haven't been really active this time. I've just been trying to keep to myself more, because I feel like when I give too much too soon, then I get burnt out and I lose energy. Mm-hmm. But this protocol, I mean, everything that Ranjeet has said, I can say to it like at least to some lesser level, or just to a little bit of a lower level, that yes, it is true. Like, well, you want to hear something crazy, Ranjeet? Last week, I was laying in bed and I had this sudden feeling that said, release every sexual experience you've ever had in your life. And I was like, what the? I was like, that is so weird. I was like, dude, this is so bizarre. And I was like, who cares? I wasn't going to let the mind, you know, because that was my mind. You can see it, how quickly it was like, boom, right there. And I'm like, I don't care this time. I'm just going to do it. And I got to tell you, like, when I look on my wife now, I just see an angel. Like that's who she is to me now. Anyways, I don't want to carry on too long, but I just want to say, like, I mean, this shit is really real. Like, I just can't express it to you. Sometimes when people stop talking and stop sharing, that's honestly probably the time they're either just going astray or they're going straight up, because it's so intense. Anyways, thank you. Thank you, Rena. Thank you, Gino. And thank you, Ranjeet.
Love you, Scott. You know I love you so much.
It's we're going to continuously work on ourselves. It's a journey. It's just, we keep going. Whatever challenges come, we keep going. More challenges, we keep going. You know, there's no giving up. What's the option? People think about suicide. You can't get rid of yourself by killing your body. You're still going to be with yourself. The consciousness doesn't disappear. So we keep going and we keep going and we keep supporting each other. We're all going to go through challenges, and it's beautiful when we come to the place where we can release some of these things. It's just like, whoa, where was this? You know, what was I waiting for? It's awesome. Love you, Scott. That's great news about your feet again. So we everything's possible. Everything's possible. Just all that bull crap out there, don't listen to it. It's just going to confuse you. Anyway.
Hi, Ranji.
Hey, Hans.
Hey, Hans Peter, brother.
All good. Look, but how can we have questions when you have given us all the answers? How can we have one question? You have given us more answers that there is needed. Simple as that. Yeah, I like it. Look, I appreciate very much this Zoom meeting, and it's really, as I said, it's inspirational, as you can see, Scott. It goes through and through, you know, and the more simple we keep it, the better it is, you know, because you get so much better through any struggle if if less is more and you really shed, even in your own way. And I think, you know, we spoke to each other before, it's all either obstructive or physical. There's physical obstructions and non-physical obstructions, and everything is intertangled, and they come out at different times and different ways, and you just got to deal with it one by one. But as you said, and as we all know, the more repetitive you do these things, the easier it all becomes, you know, the easier it becomes. You just got to keep repeating the simple things in life that involve fasting and clean food intake. And if you keep it that simple and you keep repeating it, see, that's when levels like you elevated yourself in and you moved yourself in. It's open to everybody. It's all to all of us. It's completely open. But you need to shed. You need to get rid of the obstructions. You just got to get it out. And it's actually because people make a big thing out of this, because when you think, as you said, things overnight disappear. How does nature do that? Because we want it all explained, but do we need it explained? I don't think so. Just enjoy it and just embrace it. And so it is with in particular with the non-physical obstructions. When they come and you gotta just let them go. Just let them go and don't, you know, we always ask too much. And instead of just enjoy the moment, we can't understand nature. We never will, because we're part of it and it's just too overwhelming. But in our materialistic, consumeristic and codified and catalogued world, we want to explain everything, but you can't. And you made it good. See, just what you just gave us, that you know, your journey. There's nothing complicated on it. When you're open to it, you understand it all. And it all is there for us all to experience and to have exactly the same. Everybody will do it a different way, of course. It comes to you differently too. But when you know that you can understand it, you know. It's easy sometimes to take it, but it's when you know, you can understand it easily. Simple as that. So thank you very much. That was inspirational.
Thank you, Ranjeet.
No, thank you, everyone. I mean, Gina, can you put it on gallery view, or I don't know if you got it on gallery view or not.
Sure.
Might ask them. Can you put it on gallery view?
Oh, gallery, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We can get the whole gang.
Yeah.
Hi,
I'm happy
Ren.
to, thank you. Who's this? Is that you, Angelica?
It's me. Thank you. I love you. Thank you so much for sharing your life journey. It has been so beautiful. I just enjoyed every bit of it. It's just amazing. It's lovely. How exciting for you to have this experience here. And I'm a bit the opposite. I have a lot of female energy and need to work on my male energy to balance it out. And so listening to you, I was able to connect so much with my story and understand it better and have those learnings and realizations for myself. And you're such a blessing. Your words, your story, your love. Oh my God, I just want to hug you and love you. And you're so beautiful. And I love you so, so much. Thank you. Thank you for coming to this earth to share with us. And I love you. You're just so amazing. And your energy is just so beautiful. I'm so grateful for you and for Ron and for Gino. And thank you so much for just being you. Thank you. I just wanted to share. I want to hug you and thank you so much.
Thank you.
My God, I just through pain. Like, honestly, that's all I ever want. More for you than for me, ever, always. I want to hug you too, Angelica. I'm hugging you. You know that I love you so much. You're just such a beautiful heart. I saw you when you first came to the page. I saw you. You know, I knew you're part of this family. Beautiful soul that you are. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Yes. We're all in it together. We're all one.
The emotion of Plath makes everything possible.
Ranjeet? Ranjeet?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, sweetheart. Just saying hello.
Hello.
Beautiful just being here, listening to you, and especially now, just being with everybody and listening to Angelica and Scott is just so touching, so touching. It just gets you right there in heart. You could just feel it. I think some people on doing Master Fast and being part of this family are some of the toughest souls, because what you are going through, well, they say we chose our path, it's predetermined. It's very, very tough for many of us, as it was for you, as it was for Gino, and the suffering so many of us had to go through. It was put there to make us go the way we're meant to go. Otherwise, we wouldn't probably have gone the way, and you know what I'm trying to say, because we would be too distracted by everything else, like other people. But we have a mission. I'm not saying I don't know. I do believe, like you, I surrender, and I believe I'm being guided, because there is a bigger picture. It's not just me. I'm just a puppet, but without actually experiencing the low times, and well, I don't have any other word for it, suffering. Perhaps you don't agree with that word anymore. Like you said, it's balance and imbalance. But sometimes our biggest curse is actually our not in your case. You did have health issues, but like I remember you saying at the beginning of your journey that you didn't go into it to cure your diseases like many of others, including me. But when you experience true suffering, and that is for many of us the reason to start the Master Fast, and that is why Gino was so determined to just to keep going. And when you experience the Master Fast, and when you experience that state, and you can feel it working, and for me particularly, changing the belief that what I believed that I can't cure, suddenly I could, just by doing Master Fast, when before I've searched and searched and searched, and I was giving up. A few times I was giving up. I didn't want to carry on. And then you experience the opposite of suffering. You enjoy it 100 times more, just because, and I believe you had to experience that that suffering to actually appreciate life. Because I mean, like all of us, like everybody else, and I look around, there are just, their mind is preoccupied by stupid little things, like you said, you know, that are not important. So by, don't know, just this journey, you just learn to appreciate being alive. You know what I mean? And just like you, I've never had any like many friends, but I always crave this personal connection. And here, you know, just being here is just so personal and beautiful, isn't it? Thank you, beautiful. You are just an angel.
You are I never forget your interview. You know, I remember watching it so much, Denise. I fell in love with you when I watched your interview.
It wasn't an interview. It wasn't an interview.
I wasn't an interview, but I just like you. You're all heart.
I know, but like I said, I'm so camera shy, and even listening to you, I'm thinking, how can someone can talk non-stop for 2 hours? I couldn't do that. I'm like, is she breathing? But it reminded me, I had a best friend when I was at school. It was so funny when you were talking about, you know, your previous life. Even at school, that in our class there were two groups of people, like girls. There were bad girls and good girls, you know, studying, and there was always me and this other odd girl in the middle, and we never fitted into either group. We were always pulled, like, you know, we almost didn't have our own will. We were always like led, like to do the bad things by the bad girls. But so this and then when I finished school, when I finished my A-levels, I actually bonded to someone who I sort of dismissed before, who was one of the good girls. And she was like you, and she always knew what she wanted. She always wanted to study law, and she went to university. I was always like drifting around, and she was always my, like, I was looking up to her, you know, and only today it clicked that I've got you there in front of me as you know, on pedestal, really, but still little part of me hoping that, oh, one day I will be like Ranjeet, you know. You never know, maybe. You just like, why not? If she can do it, and this is what you are showing us, that it is possible. And but at the same time, listening to you, and people think, yes, oh, how does she do it? She makes it look so easy. But part of me wants what you have, and I believe it's possible for me as well. But part of me, there is a little bit of that fear, because it's tough. And I started this journey about two years ago, and it's actually getting easier because I'm more aware of everything, and I'm making choices, conscious choices, rather than just, you know. So, but part of me is still like, if I'm really gonna go this way, it's gonna be continuous journey. It's never gonna be easy peasy. But like I said at the beginning, this is not for everybody, but I think we can do this. Yeah. Thank you. Love you.
Yeah, Denise, you've gone through a massive transformation yourself, so, you know, and
Oh, Gino, I'm still learning. I'm still learning because since my last master fast, it's been like this, up and down, and I'm, as you know, my skin. I mean, I started to eat and everything. It's just and I just went down, and it just came back, and I I I have to learn by experiencing that suffering again. I have, it's like it's almost like I have to learn the hard way. It still doesn't quite,
Register.
yeah,
we
yeah.
all
I
have
have,
life, a lot of things on our plate, and you know that we maybe sometimes put more emphasis on than it really need to, and that's what brings us these emotional roller coaster rides. So we have to learn to let things go, right?
but it's a process. So I've just being connected, you know, with everybody. I mean, like before, when I started, when I jumped into 108, it was like, oh, do 108. 108 is a goal, but now things have changed, you know, a little bit. It's not that. It's a bit more like, be loving to yourself, do what you can do, you know, stick to the stage that you are comfortable with, you know, love yourself while you're doing it, love the way, you know, love what you are doing, and just
Yeah,
rather than just pushing yourself, forcing yourself, you know, not you know. But what Ranjit is just, what did you say, has it, how long has it been? It's just amazing how quickly you progressed. It's just amazing. But it was predetermined for you. It has been since you entered the realm, really, since you were born. Yeah, I'm just curious, where are you gonna go?
You know, that's a really good question, because sometimes I don't know. I know one thing. I love intimate relationships, Denisha, as you know how much I freaking love you. So, you know, and you've watched my journey from the beginning. And it's, for me, is like, what else can I do to help the consciousness of this planet? And how I can go into the other realms and the cosmic realms, and to do that as well. But to have people with me, I don't like to do it on my own. So it's developing relationships, which are so important to me, you know, more than anything. And going on that journey, the good, bad, and ugly with the relationships as well, and going on that journey together. And which is difficult because it's hard to find people that live on this path. But I'm willing to do it, you know, and create, you know, and also, what is it that you want to create? I love to help other people if it's aligned properly with the divine and they want to create something. I really do enjoy helping others in that creation, because I know I can do, I know I know my skills and talents. I know what I've been graced with, and I want to utilize that a lot more in my freedom, you know. So it's I think it's that, Denise. So that's what I feel the pull towards. I don't see myself, someone said to me, oh, you're a spiritual guru or anything like that. I don't see that. I never want to put myself in that type of category. It's more about, you've got this power in you now. How does the divine or source utilize that power through your vessel to make this a better human planet in my own personal human potential? That's how I kind of see it. And I don't know what that is. And I actually really like that, because when you're in the flow state, you're in the true state, you know.
I was gonna say, Denise, you know, we're all learning, and that's the whole point of this journey, you know, like you're learning and you're improving, and that's all that really matters, you know. As long as we're doing it with love for ourselves and everybody around us, then it's, you know, the best we can do, you know. Just enjoy the journey. It doesn't matter what level, just enjoy it, you know. If you love food, you enjoy food. You love fasting, you enjoy fasting. You love both, you enjoy both. You love fasting alone, do it alone, you know, like do whatever you want, you know.
Except for me, I don't really have a choice, because if I eat, I have physical symptoms straight away. And I think this is actually my body reacts already, is more sensitive, because I've done 110 days for me. I did that. So
Have you been able to live any of the lifestyles, any of the levels?
I'm very opposite to, like Angelica said, I've got more female energy within me than masculine. I've got no discipline. I'm not like you or Ranjeet. You are very disciplined and focused. Rana, you are so,
Yeah, but I can also
you can focus your mind. So I'm just not naturally that way. I'm very all over the place, and I'm not going to try to change myself. So I'm still just taking it every day by day. I know you're meant to pick a level, let's say, but I'm just, rather than, for example, for the last 2 weeks, I was able to, I wanted to do full moon 3 days, but I managed only 50 hours, so just over 2 days. But I stuck to juice and everything. So for the last 2 weeks, let's say, I've been doing master fast and just listening to my body. But today, there was this mango looking at me. I just could not bear myself to throw it away. Otherwise, I wasn't even hungry or anything. And after mango, it was 2 oranges and then some vegetables and then something else. But today, I'm not sure, but I will see. But I'm just.
I have done the lifestyle on and off as well, and I can tell you it's not easy to stick to it. It takes, I would say, at least give yourself 3 weeks to feel comfortable with it. 3 weeks of up and down with the lifestyle. It's not gonna go your way, you know. So give yourself time. You have to, you know, you just allow it. Don't worry about it. Just let it be. You're gonna do mistakes, no problem. You know, give yourself commitment, and then after the 3 weeks, see how far you can go. Do 6 months. After the 3 weeks, then you know you can commit. Do 6 months, and then evaluate. And I have no doubt that you will love both fasting and eating. And if the eating is not the best, improve. You can always improve. We know fruits are on top, you know. And also, not to mention the intermittent eating as well, intermittent fasting when we're eating. So eating no more than 3 hours a day. Honestly, after 108 days, or even before 108 days, when you get into the master fast lifestyle, intermittent fasting is super important, because the body doesn't like it. When we're fasting, let's say 2 days a week, the body doesn't like to eat all day. So 3 hours maximum of eating. Do commit. You have to commit. You see, anything in life, in my opinion, you want to achieve, and I'm sure if you ask anybody, they will say the same thing. Commitment. You have to commit. Any diet, any lifestyle, anything, any project you want to achieve, you have to commit, and you have to be disciplined. And it's not by force, it's by love. You have to make time for things. And you have, you know, I mean, you know, you're doing your work. For example, you have a job and you're disciplined. You have to be disciplined, right? So this is just another project.
We learn to see and feel ourselves already in a place where we want to be. More of the feeling. You have to feel yourself already there, and then just have the discipline to allow the slow motion to work its way through to that.
It's tricky though. It's tricky. It takes maybe 3 weeks to build the habit, and then after the 3 weeks, then you say, okay, I'm safe now, safer, you know, and I can, I feel comfortable and I can go longer. You know? But yeah, 1 day or 2 weeks, like you ate today, it's tricky. Of course, it's tricky. Eating is always tricky, so you have to be very, you know, as I said, 3 weeks of making, like, trust me, before I got into this, I don't know how many months I did mistakes.
I've got another mango on the windowsill.
Yeah, another mango. Yeah, go for it.
Oh,
If you want it, you know, but
no, I try not to keep fruit or anything in the house. This is so weird because my husband is actually, he doesn't eat fruit, he doesn't eat vegetables, he just eats meat and all the other stuff. So when he cooks, I'm not tempted at all, you know, but I don't know, I bought these 2 mangoes like few weeks ago, just in case, before I started to, you know, to do the master fast, just in case if I get. But anyway, this is not about me, this is about Ranjeet. So can I actually ask can I actually ask Ranjeet, do you still eat pudding? Because some of the days, like in the last
pudding,
2 weeks, I felt just juice, even the pudding, I didn't feel like it. But mind you, I was watching Ellie Tom's videos like every day, you know, like so maybe that was something to do with it, but I didn't even feel like the heaviness of the pudding. I didn't want it, but I'm like, oh, that's not part of the protocol. But so do you still eat pudding?
Yeah, I make it very liquid and I still have it. The hard thing that I find not wanting is the kidney tea. I find it a real challenge, but Juno says to me, stick at it. I said, okay, so I just have a little quarter of a cup twice a day, and I stick to it. I stick it to a tea because it keeps me grounded. Not even the fact about, you know, I know what you mean by the plasma pudding, but I've never had an issue. I actually enjoy it. I look forward to my plasma pudding. I liquid it. It's more liquid, so I love it, and I don't know what it is why I stick to it so strictly. I think it's just because it's part of it's come from divine, and so I know it's come from divine, and I find when I stick to it, because I remember when I had my 2-month break, I was just all over the shop. You know, first 2 weeks was all right, and then I was having fruit and stuff, and I started feeling my body getting obstructed really, really quickly. And I remembered the videos because everyone talks about the break, right? I remembered it, and I'm going, I'm not going to start on the 1st of March. I'm going to start a week earlier. And I just could not wait to start fasting. And because I did it so strictly in my 108, and I knew how I felt, I just could not wait to do it. So yeah, the kidney tea is the only one I have issues with. I love to go off it when Gina lets me go off it, and yeah, that's the only one I don't like taking. But everything else, love it. I haven't even changed my juice. I still have grape juice. I haven't thought about having any other pasteurized juices because I just don't want to think. I just go, I like the grape juice, so I don't want to have any other one. But I might try some different ones next year. But yeah, I just don't want to think. Just want to be with the divine and love, build strength, no distractions, and dry fast on full moons and season changes. It's so important that when you do shifts, when you do dry fasts on the season changes and the full moons, much more powerful, I reckon, I know this for sure, than say, hey, I'm going to go do a 12-day dry fast, but it's not in a season change or a full moon. Because guess what? It's not as divinely as connected. And when you do the power of doing it on the full moon. Whoa, man. Like when I did my 9-day one on the season change, I don't recommend anyone to do that. Gina and Rana helped me through that. When I did that, it's 3 to the power of 3. So that means you died to yourself, you resurrected yourself 3 times to the power of 3. And it's actually the energy. It's not about, I can do a dry fast, so I'm good, my physical body can handle it. It's not that. It's actually what happens afterwards. It's the energy power source that comes through you. And if you're not prepared or you're not into surrender and trust, you will screw up. Like you will feel, your mind. And if you're not into eliminating fear, eliminating emotional attachments, all that sort of thing, it can be very overpowering. I found it very overpowering even for me. And so you got to work up to it. Just don't do those long dry fasts. Just really work up to, how you said you did a 2-day one. I always say, like in the full moons, just work up to the 3-day. But when you do a 3-day one, I don't know if Anthony's here or not, but he did some couple of months of 3-day ones first time, and he knew the power. And you can see when he talks, it's different. It's different. Diane, you beautiful angel, I just can't. I love you so much. You've been with me. I felt you from the moment I met you, and I just love hearing your voice. And no matter what you say, and I want to know how your grandbaby is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, here's my voice. So Arlo, my grandson, he's over 20 pounds, and he's June 21st. Summer solstice baby. It's so cool. July, August, September, October. No, he's almost, not even 5 months old. He's huge. Anyway, no, I mean, he's great. Yeah. Yeah. Life. Anyway, yeah, I know you wanted to hear about me, but your talk, I mean, I wasn't going to say anything because it's just, I'm not going to cry. I mean, it's just energy, and it's not just energy. It's like, wow, I liked your swearing, by the way. It's energy. And I'm getting it. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. Anyway, I love you dearly. I love everyone here.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for always being positive on the page. We always love hearing from you.
Thank you.
And I know Jeanette's going to say something because she's just a freaking bloody goddess sister that I just love so much.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you so much, Ranjeet. That was awesome. I actually was maybe going to ask a question, but I was just like waiting to see if other people had questions or input first. But I wanted to ask you, I know you only sleep a few hours. Do you have dreams, and what are they like? Are you like in the astral world flying around with all your buds and everything, or what goes on in there?
It's a cool question because I never knew what happened when I went into space. I call it space when I was meditating. I never really knew. I just always used to come back down. I used to feel really great. Like I said, oh wow, I feel really good. I feel really happy and those sort of things. And I just never knew. I never really asked until I had the experience of the realms. Then I kind of knew. But recently, I've been asking, right, because my intention for this season was to be more in the cosmic realms and to understand what's going on in the cosmic realms. So yeah, when I wake up, right, depending how I go to sleep, right, so when I wake up, depending how I go to sleep, is like sometimes I wake up like I'm just so tearfully in joy. Like I wake up and I go, why do I feel so tearful? Why am I so in joy? What's this all happening, And then sometimes I just wake up and I'm just always happy when I wake up. And I haven't had that, you know, you never drag yourself out of bed. Nothing of that ever happens. So I've been asking, and then I know I go into the space. I know I go into these realms. And yes, I go in and they've shown me planets. And it feels like some people come with me, Jeanette. Like I feel like I'm not alone. And then I feel really funny saying this. It's really weird, like because I'm not used to this stuff. I see trapped souls in realms, and I see how they just kind of stay there a little bit, and I want to go help them, but that's not my mission, sort of thing, because it kind of the divine just puts you back on track. Don't look at that, Ranjeet. Focus on what we need to focus on. And I believe I have gone outside this galaxy, but I don't know where yet. I see myself in a planet, and where I'm just, I don't know if it's a healing or whatever, it's just being in complete bliss or whatever is going on. And I've seen, I don't know how to say this.
Come
I've seen
on.
some like yogis and things. I've seen people, I've seen things. I've seen like forms and things. And then I come back down and I go, oh, this is really funny. But I'll tell you one experience, this is a bit woohoo, is when I have these high energies that go through me and I can't unblock, they're the euphoric energies, Jeanette. You know, when you feel really like, oh, you feel so hot, you know, and you just feel this energy coming through and I can't move it out of my body. I literally cannot move it out of my body. So
Interesting.
I've got 3 beings, I suppose, and go up into the realm and they kind of help me move the energy out of me. And they've now have shown themselves to me a lot more. And I actually I didn't realise this, I didn't tell you about my mystical experiences in the past. When Warren was really sick, he wanted to become Christian. So we did that born again Christian thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I actually fell under the thingy-majiggy and I arose, you know, gave my life to Jesus and all that sort of stuff, I saw 3 beings and they're the same ones.
Mm.
And I felt the atmosphere of the energy of the room. I saw it open up a portal and I actually saw orbs behind people. And I didn't think anything of it at that time because I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. I'll just keep it to myself. But that connection there, all the connections that you have in your life, all connect to what's happening right now. And it's all just seems like it's all just divinely, just all like what Denise said, it's just all divinely just happens.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you go through life or what you do or what experience you have, it's just going to be divinely happen. But you actually do have to agree by the sounds of it. You have to let that in and tap into it. Yeah. Is that? You can ask me deeper questions if you want. I feel a bit shy. I don't want to embarrass. Don't want to make people feel funny, but yeah.
You're so sweet, Ranjeet. I feel for you because I was a very shy person most of my life. As a child, I would hide behind things. No one would ever know this about me because I built this giant persona to pretend that I was something other than that. So no, I totally relate. And I relate to the dreams too. And that's why I was asking, because I know it's like only up from here, from where I'm at. You know, I'm on level 3 of the Master Fast system, and I'm having dreams of loved ones. I had like my no-no on my Italian side come to me last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so vivid. Like it was almost like, you know, when you remember your dream because it was the most recent one and then you wake up so you know what dream you just experienced. It was one of those. And he was in perfect health. He died when I was 12. I didn't get very close to him, obviously, because I didn't have a lot of time. But when I was a kid, I was particularly interested in him. And he was always making his own wine and drinking lots of it. And he always smelled of, like, to child, alcohol stinks, hey? I always remembered it on his breath. And so he wasn't like in the best of health. And then they ate so much gluten. My no-no, my gosh, she made all the ravioli, everything by hand. And, you know, we always thought, oh, look at the love she's putting into the food. I have a lot of attachments to food because of that. those experiences with them. But yeah, he just was in perfect health in the dream. And like, he smelled amazing. And he just like, he's always been a man of few words. So in the dream, he was just there to help me like renovate my house or something. And I remember like, he was so silent that I just reached out and put my hand on his hand. And like, it was like a whole like, you know, non-verbal communication kind of thing going on. So it was cool. So I thought I'd ask you, because I'm just really excited to, you know, experience.
I have had, actually remind me of one of my dreams. Was with all my grandmothers, because I was going through the female line of trying to open up the goddess energy and all that sort of stuff. So I actually I had this really vivid dream, and it was with all my ancestry grandmother line. We were around a fire, and we were dancing to Indian folk music, and they were teaching me more stuff, and it was just the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful experiences I ever had. Like, to go back through, and it felt so real, like it was real, you know. And I went, oh my God, how blessed am I to meet all my grandmothers, go through your aunt, my mum's side, and went through that, because I've always been through my dad's side. So that, it was vivid. So they're very vivid and very real, and I believe you get taken there for sure. Love that. Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to be creative, it sounds like you're wanting to be creative. I'll plant a little seed now. I really want to be creative too, and I want to help Indigenous communities, you know, and I'll plant that little seed with you, because I could see us all getting together around a bonfire, all of us Masterfast family, you know, at some of these places that they've set up, the Indigenous people in like different countries. I know John's been going off to Peru a lot. You know, it'd be really nice to support them somehow. Maybe we could bring healing centers or something, you know, to just go there even and just dance around with everyone. It'd be so fun. Stay in touch, Ranjeet.
All right. We're coming to the 3-hour mark. I guess we can wrap her up.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone for turning up. I'm glad. One of the greatest things about going on Zoom is when you go live, you actually feel the energy more so. I feel in the recording, and it's a real intense. And thank you for all you inspire me. I know I inspire you, but you all inspire me so much. And thank you for allowing me to love on you and receive that love, because that's actually quite nice for me to flow that out, to continually flow it. All I do is just love you so much in that space, and thank you for receiving and being open to it. And thank you, Gina and Rana, for this space as well, and everything that you've done for me, because we've been together for over 15 months now. So you've seen my journey from day dot, and you see where I am, and I hope that inspires you, which you will, I know, continue. So thank you. God bless everybody. Love you all.
Welcome.
Love you.
Love you too. Thank you, guys.
Love you all.
Take care of yourselves.
We'll wrap her up, and thank you everybody for joining and supporting. This is what it's all about. You know, without support, many people would never do it. So we keep going. Till next time.
Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Have a good night.
Keep that plasma love always flowing. Ciao, ciao.